Hello, everyone. If you can hear me, please say Spoony Bard. I guess that makes sense to say that today. If you can hear me, please say Spoony Bard. And if you can't hear me, then and please enjoy these images without knowing that I'm telling you to enjoy them. All right, we got some Spoony Bard. We got a Forky Bard. Never imagined that. That would have been a good fan art back in the day. If instead of like an Earthbound site, if I had started a Final Fantasy IV site, which could have been very possible. All right, so there's a lot to go through today. So how do I start this? So today we're going to continue our Final Fantasy IV translation comparison. Right now we're like halfway through the watery underpass. We have Tella and Rydia, and we're going to go defeat the octopus boss. Then we're going to go to the castle of Damcyan. And this is where the famous Spoony Bard scene takes place. Then we'll get Edward in our party, and then we'll head back to town and see if there's any changes. I also kind of want to mess with that weird scaling site spell problem. I want to check that out because we'll have the hovercraft by then. Because today is going to be the Spoony Bard episode, I want to first actually cover the Spoony Bard stuff now in detail. That way people just tuning in won't have to like wait forever for me to get there. But also because when we get there, there's a big scene that's all around that, just single little line. And if we focus only on the little line, we're going to miss everything else. So it's good to get this out of the way first, and then we can give the scene its proper, analysis. All right. So for the most part, I'm going to assume if you're here live, you're like a fan of Final Fantasy IV. So you probably already know what Spoony Bard is, but just in case. And also I'm doing this also in case like Japanese fans decide to watch in about 10 years when they find out about these videos. So let me explain what Spoony Bard is. All right. So later today, we're going to get to this scene, and it has Tella, the wizard, on the right, and he's about to fight the bard on the left. And he's doing that because he thinks that the bard has helped Tella's daughter die, and he's just taking out all his aggression on the bard here. And during the Super NES translation, there's one line in this exchange and where Tella yells, "You Spoony Bard." And this became like a memorable quote for English-speaking fans, but this line does not in any way appear in the Japanese script at all. This was kind of made up, and we'll look into that a little bit. But just know that this is a famous scene in English-speaking regions. If you're an English-speaking fan, you know this. Anytime there's a new Final Fantasy news, you can almost expect someone to say something about Spoony Bards. So what is the deal? Why is a Spoony Bard such a big deal in English and not in Japanese? I actually have written multiple articles about this topic. You can go to legendsoflocalization.com and you can just type in Spoony and you'll find a couple of them. Actually, I need to make this bigger for my sake so I can read this. Rather than try to restate everything, I'm just reusing a little bit of one of my articles here. Okay, so why is it so famous? So the recipe for fame. So why is this quote such a big deal? I hear this a lot from Japanese gamers and occasionally from younger English-speaking gamers. You could probably write an entire book on the phenomenon. I won't. But it's a combination of a few things. First, console gamers. So this is back in like 1991, 1992. So just understand that all the text before this in our RPGs, we barely had RPGs to begin with, but when we had them, they were kind of either poorly just worded, like semi still in Japanese feeling, or I don't know, it was just kind of like still the early Wild West era of writing and translating, so things were kind of weird. So console gamers of the time were accustomed to a certain type of writing in Japanese to English game translation, and this only veers from that. I'll talk about that in a second. Similarly, this game's English translation had already established a certain level and style of writing by the scene, and this line suddenly goes in a very different direction. But the biggest factor of all is that nobody really uses Spoony in everyday English, and most of the target audience had probably never even heard of the word before. I know I hadn't, at least. I think I was like maybe 12, and I was a pretty good reader. I was reading ahead of my grade and all that, but I never encountered Spoony. I know I hadn't, at least. So although it makes perfect sense to us, it sounds normal after hearing it for so many years. Back then, the word Spoony probably came across as meaning spoon-like for many players, especially young ones. Other players might have thought it was a typo or translation mistake. So I'm condensing everything down. There's probably more reasons in all of these. If you have your own personal reasons, let me know in the comments or in the chat. Okay, so for these reasons, Spoony Bard is often considered a bad translation, but it's technically not even a translation at all. It's a completely made-up line that doesn't exist in the original game. And if this helps, if you've played Final Fantasy VI, actually, if you played Final Fantasy VI before, you know that scene where Gao jumps around and laughs at Cyan's use of thou over and over? This Spoony Bard thing is a lot like that. Most of Final Fantasy IV's Super NES translation used a standard style of speech, so suddenly seeing this weird phrase made fans jump around and repeat Spoony Bard over and over too. So we kind of became that without realizing it. We became Gao. Alright, so there's, that's what that article is. Alright, so this is gonna kind of restate a couple things, but it's probably important. Alright, so we saw, we've only made like 4, this was the 5th stream I think. We're barely into the game, and we've already like lost so many points for mistranslations and awkward translations and missing translations in the Super NES version. But we've also seen that it just has like really weird phrasing sometimes. And just in the last playthrough, we saw a bunch of weird things, like someone picked up a sick girl from Baron falling down, which was a mistranslation and weird English. And then a similar line happened. A girl from Baron was kept from falling down, and that's wrong too. So basically, the original Super NES translation had poor English, weird phrasing, typos, mistakes, and more, which made the archaic word spoony feel like a sudden and thus humorably memorable surprise back in the day. The word spoony first felt like spoon-like / like a spoon, and most kids at the time would have viewed it through this definition before pulling out a dictionary. And most kids probably never would have. So actually, what is the definition of spoony in English? So here we have, I gotta make this big again. All right. It's okay. Spoony, I just looked on online dictionary. It's probably dictionary.com, I'm not sure. Spoony is it means silly or foolish, but especially when there's undue sentimentality involved. And another meaning is being sentimentally in love. And this fits the situation, because the bard was like in love with Tella's daughter, and Tella's daughter is now like dying or dead. And the daughter and the bard had eloped. And so it kind of makes sense that Tella would use the word spoony here, but he doesn't in English. There's nothing in Japanese. In English he says spoony, but so anyway, this is what spoony actually was intended to mean. And I don't think that this would have been something that a Japanese native would have known this word. Instead, from what I've gotten from looking through the Japanese script compared to the Super NES translation is that there must have been like some like older dictionary available, like older print dictionary available somewhere at the Japanese studios, and it has some like older definitions of things in there. And that was still back in the day where dictionaries were still pretty wonky. They're a lot better these days. But anyway, not only is it like a really weird word, spoony, but it's also an old one. And apparently, according to the trivia of this thing, its first use was circa 1812. And it was British slang, so, we're in North America, so we probably wouldn't have known spoon to begin with. I bet if you were British, you probably would have had a lot easier time with that word. Use of spoon is brought about, blah, 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 to describe a silly or foolish person. And in time, it began to take on a sentimental and amorous overtones. And blah, 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 blah. I will say that a lot of these things, like etymologies that are on like dictionary.com or just like any generic dictionary site, if you see etymologies and first known uses, please understand that a lot of the times these are going to be incorrect or just inconsistent with other sites and other resources. So whenever I see something like this, I'm like, okay, this is what this is saying, but this Pokédex might not be as good as like a different Pokédex. It's kind of how it is. It's a word Pokédex, basically. And some Pokédexes are going to just kind of suck. So there's a definition of spoony if you'd like to know. All right. The thing is that the Spoony Bard is what I would call a legacy translation, which means that in every version of Final Fantasy IV, ever since that first Super NES translation, they've always kept spoony in, even though it's not in the Japanese script at all. Because it was such a big deal back in the day for English speakers, it's now kind of like a grandfathered in, I guess you could say. And that's something that I don't think there's a technical word for it, but I might call that like a legacy translation or a legacy phrase, which means sometimes when I would work doing my professional work, they would let me translate like everything how I wanted, except for these certain phrases, these certain names, these certain like catchphrases, stuff like that. Those would already be set in stone, possibly by like previous translators, or it would be set in stone by maybe like the licensors, like the Japanese side of things. So legacies, translations are a thing, and I don't know, there's not much to say about it. It's just like they can kind of get in the way, and they can be probably confusing for the people on the like the source creators, like the original authors. I imagine whoever wrote Final Fantasy IV's script in Japanese, the first time they encountered someone from America saying Spoony Bard, they were probably confused and unsure what was going on. And this is a phenomenon that's also common in Japanese to English translations, where the English translations will either add something or just phrase something in a certain way that becomes way more memorable than it was in the original. It's a weird phenomenon that can happen sometimes. And you can try to make it happen on purpose, but that's kind of like in Mean Girls when they try to make, was it fetch?
Fetch.
They try to make words happen, become a thing. Or Streets Ahead, if you know Community, Streets Ahead. I forgot about that one. So where am I going with that? So for some reason, none of the translations, like even the fan translations, have been using Spoony Bard. And now, because it's such a big deal, like non-Final Fantasy games are now getting Spoony Bard references added into them, as we've been seeing on this slideshow here. So Spoony Bard was just originally a Super NES line that was kind of like thrown together from nowhere, and it became a big deal, and then it exploded outside of the game itself and went on to like mutate and become its own thing. It's really strange. It's kind of cool. But I kind of wonder what the original authors would have thought.
Question.
Yeah.
Is it the first video game meme?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think so. I think one that just popped in my mind right now is that a Sinistar, when that guy chases you, like that old, I think it's Atari game, right? Shoot. Where am I taking this? Yeah, so like the original Final Fantasy IV people were probably like confused at first, and maybe they didn't like the fact that their scene got trampled on and continues to be trampled on. It depends on who you're talking about. It's a case-by-case thing. Other similar situations might be, a recent one that people have noticed is in the Phoenix Wright games, there's a famous quote in the English translations. It's like, almost Christmas means it wasn't Christmas. And that's kind of like a famous quote. But in the Japanese releases, that's not a famous quote, and so that line actually in different releases of the Japanese script has actually gotten changed. So it's not even one-to-one with what the original Japanese script was. So I know it's hard to explain, but this is a phenomenon that happens in Japanese to English translations, probably just any translation, to be honest. Another one that might happen is possibly Symphony of the Night with like Die You Monster, Miserable Pile of Secrets, all that stuff. The original Symphony of the Night intro scene played out. It was basically the ending of the previous game. And when they talk about like justice and humans and stuff. But for the English dub, they kind of just went kind of crazy with it. But by doing so, it became more memorable too. But it doesn't reflect the original writer's intent. So I kind of wonder what they were thinking. What is like those old Castlevania people? Do they even understand what Miserable Pile of Secrets is? I don't know. So it's a weird phenomenon. And so while we have Spoony Bard, right, the thing is, like every game will probably have its fans, and and all those fans will probably have some of their favorite lines. And some of those favorite lines won't be the same between countries or regions. So while we have Spoony Bard, in Japan they actually have something else. And their famous line is when Golbez at the end of the game, who's been kind of like a dark knight looking guy, he's been real badass and scary, and just he's been the main villain the entire time, but he turns good by the end. And so now he's ready to take out the final battle with the help with the bearded guy that you see there. And so after all this harsh talk and like death and destruction talk, suddenly he goes "いいですとも" in a very like upbeat way, and it's like there's a politeness in there all of a sudden, and the phrasing is a little strange, I mean, it's not wrong or anything. It's just like, whoa, I didn't expect this to come out of you. So, I des tomo, the easiest way I guess I can put this in English is if we called it indubitably. Like, it suddenly just feels like, whoa, where'd that word come out of? This feels out of character. So that's the famous quote for Japanese fans. Like, there's been actually a whole bunch of fan favorite lines, and we'll look through those as we go through them in the game. But I des tomo is probably the equivalent of our Spoony Bard. And if you never played the Japanese versions, if you don't know Japanese, this probably might come as news to you. But hopefully you can embrace I des tomo, and hopefully the Japanese fans can embrace Spoony Bard. And then we can do that thing like in the Predator movie where they're doing like the big old handshake, the two big buff arms. That we'll do that with our catchphrase arms. All right. So that's what's going on with Spoony Bard, and we'll get to that in a little bit, but now we have to actually play the game instead of talk about it. Hopefully this all makes sense. All right, now let's begin the game. There might be some more stuff I need to talk about, but we'll see. Now to the next scene. Doop. Are we still here? Can you guys hear me?
I think so.
All right. All right. So, oh yeah, we stopped at 1101. That's an important number for any Earthbound fan, Mother fan. All right, so we're halfway through the watery cave. We're out here. I tried to slightly change the microphone settings. I might slightly tweak them over time so I can get them to not sound like we're going through tunnels sometimes. I think I have to always be speaking directly forward, not talking sideways like I like to talk to Poe. And I can't like lean forward. Oh good, I can make this bigger for me now. Okay, I'm gonna take another drink of water after doing that spoony stuff. Oh, regarding the spoony stuff, I should mention that even though like it was a memorable line when I played it back in the day in the early 90s, it didn't really seem like it took off until the internet happened. And then people started going crazy with the Spoony Bard. It was like it became sort of a meme among all the internet FF4 fans at the time. So it was kind of like the internet whipped it up even further. That could probably be good for like a humanities study if you guys want to write a paper on that someday. Right, so we've entered the second cave that goes back underground. Earlier Tella told us that we need to go downward from the waterfall ahead. And this is the waterfall now. And he told us that we need to go downward, but only in the Japanese version. The other versions didn't really explain that we're going to have to go down, and now this makes a lot more sense. The text here, it says, waterfall that leads to underground, and then you see, this became waterfalls, just waterfalls, and Suprenius, underground waterfall, and J2E, and underpass falls, in naming it. Oh, here's a good word, if you guys want to know the word for waterfall, it's really easy, it's taki. T-A-K-I, Taki.
Like the snack.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're called Takis. Yeah, you can have one then. Have one Taki as you go under a Taki. Alright, so that's your word for the day, unless you guys want to learn some crazy word later or something, I don't know. Alright, so we walked into the water, about to go into the waterfall, and Tella now yells, Yatsu wa kono shita ja. It's down here, basically. It's under here. So Super NES, it says, it's down here, exclamation, and this matches the original text perfectly. He's down below, says J2E, that also works. He could work for Yatsu. Yatsu could be E. He, her, it, thing. It could be a lot of things. It's just a pronoun kind of a deal. He's down below. I don't know what changed here. It must be a programming thing. And then the beast is below, is what Naming Way says. Looks like they spelled it out. Just to say the beasts rather than a pronoun, like semi-pronoun-y thing. Alright, so now we're falling down the waterfall. Very long waterfall. And now we're at the bottom. We splashed into a new underground area. There's no going back up. No, at least no climbing up the waterfall. Here we go. I paused here because I spent a long time hacking code on this once and making it so you couldn't walk left here. Or so you couldn't go, yeah, so you couldn't do this for one of the hacks I worked on a couple years ago. I had to figure that out, so, okay.
Why?
because there was a tile that would set off a trigger, and you could get around it on accident. Actually, let me do this while I'm here. I might mess it up. No, I can't yet. Okay. Let's do attack. So we just got him a new sword. Let's check out this new sword. We're fighting some alligators at the moment. We'll look at all their names. I forgot I could look at their names. Okay, they're all just called alligators. It's the English word alligator also. So they know the English word alligator. Got any fun items I can use? I'm gonna use this bomb fragment. I'm gonna have Tella use it for no reason. Like, he could totally just do that himself. Alright. I can't really play with these guys. These guys are kind of hard. Yeah, I expect them to be weak to ice. I'm just being dumb at the moment. Like, this is what I actually usually do. I just use the ice rod on these ones a lot. Oh, I didn't take them out. Alright. We'll just have him do that. Like, the fact that they can do these double attacks, that was a crazy thing even, like, compared to FF1.
They didn't do group attack?
Well, it's like they hit one person and then they hit another and then you see them. It's like one move, two attacks kind of thing. Alright.
Like there's collateral damage.
Maybe, I don't really know how they decided to make it seem. I got the feeling that like one attack was tail, one was bite. Alright, so in this box we have the Hades gauntlet, technically, the Hades no Kote. This is Hades. It's not showing up on my thing there, but the Kote is like a gauntlet used for sword fighting stuff, forearm gauntlet. So it's Hades, it's already Hades, so this became Darkness for some reason in the Super NES, but Hades would have worked because according to Nintendo's own like guidelines, that Roman gods, Greek gods, all that kind of stuff was allowed. Like talking about God or Satan or maybe any other religion stuff is bad, but for some reason like Roman and Greek was okay. But they changed it to the Darkness thing. And J2E and Naming Way call it Hades. This is confusing though, calling it Darkness.
Because I'm already wearing dark armor.
Yeah, I think we already kind of are. What are we wearing at the moment? I think it was Ankoku stuff, so. Yeah, okay, so yeah, we have the Ankoku stuff here, which is already means darkness. See, Ankoku means darkness. It's like two words, like dark and black is how those come about. Calling this already darkness kind of makes like if this was all in a spreadsheet, it would be a little more confusing.
I guess if they see it's shadow.
Alright, so we gotta look at the name now. So this was the Hades, the Hades no Kote became the Yami no Kote, and Yami is darkness. It's like the more basic word for darkness. It's like this standard one that everyone would know, Yami. That was the easy type.
When was easy type released?
Around the same, maybe like a year later. I'm not really sure.
Were they written at the same time?
Yeah, so this might be a case where the Yami no Kote and the darkness change happened around the same time. I'm still trying to figure out when and where like any divergent stuff happened.
Yeah.
But like I mentioned this before, I think as they were starting to like kind of finish up the main game, and they were like kind of settling on like messing with the super boss stuff at the end and other final game stuff. They started, I can see the easy type stuff starting to happen in Bank 3, like the additions. And meanwhile, I see the same additions happening in the Super NES one in Bank 2. So it's like, it feels like there's two people working together, but not trying to override each other's work during this moment in the main game's development. This is just the vibe I'm getting at the moment.
Okay, we got that.
Okay, so a few months later, so July 91 was when FF4 came out, and October 91 was Easy Type. Yeah, I want to go, maybe in a future intro, I'll go over like the different releases.
And then English was November.
Yeah. I mean, the release dates are one thing, but I'm more curious about like the development stuff.
Yeah, we can never know.
So I feel like the little clues I've been seeing in the coding and stuff, along with these little things like how this became darkness, we're all starting to get like a piece of a little dots on a connect the dot picture. All right, so the Hades Gauntlet, So that's the difference in there. Actually, while we're here, let's look at this. Ankoku no... Oh, we already did that. Let me equip that. Like, because literally we're wearing... Like, here, look. We're wearing the Ankoku no Kote, and that's already the darkness. Ankoku. So it's kind of strange that now Hades one got changed to darkness. But it's a separate item. I don't know, it's a mess. Alright, we have another one. We have a Hades helmet from armor. Not like a I don't know. But let's put that one on too. Well, let's just look at it. We got, it'll probably be also Yami no Kabuto here. Yep, Yami no Kabuto. So it becomes Darkness Helmet. Then it became that in Super NES. Then it was Hades and J2E, and Hades also in anime. Now let's equip it. We're getting darker and darker as we go through this game. Later in the stream, I'm going to do an item duplication glitch. That way I can get a whole bunch of money, and we won't have to worry too much about money and grinding for money later. It'll be nice. I never really do those kinds of glitches, but I think it'll be nice to show it off here. We actually might be missing some enemies. I would like to look at some of the enemies. There are some toad monsters down here, I think. Alright, so here we have Chika no Mizuumi, which is like the underground lake. Yeah, the Chika is underground, and Mizuumi is lake. In the Super NES, that just became lake. But then you can see underground lake in J2E and an underpass lake in Nameway. I don't know why they would call it underpass, because that makes it sound like it is a pass that people take a lot. I don't know. I don't know enough about the politics of this world. Okay, here we go. We got some those Sahagins that we saw before, but these ones aren't desert. They're just plain Sahagin, and as we saw, or we mentioned, they seem to be based on original Dungeons and Dragons. They're basically like mermen, and these ones seem to be the water ones, but they're just called Sahagin in Japanese. In the easy type, they became Han Gyojin, which is like a half mermaid. Like Han is half, Gyo is fish, and Jin is person, so half fish person. Jin was there, person. Gyo probably won't show up unless I do something special there. Gyo, nope, won't show up there. Anyway, so in Super NES, the Sahagin became the water hag. And I think they were desert hags in the desert. So that's what's going on there. Now we have to look at these little guys. These little guys are called mini magician. Mini magicians is what they're called. Magician and mini. And that's just basically English. But because it's already like two English words, for easy type, they wanted something Japanese. So they call them Chibi Mahotsukai, which is the same thing, just using Japanese words. You probably know the word chibi. Most likely you know Maho as magic. Okay, so Super NES, the Mini Magician became Tiny Mage. J2E, they became Mini Mage. They used to be Tiny Mage. Then they became Mini Mage. In naming way, they became Tiny Mage. Which I don't know why they would call it that, but it matches what they have in Super NES. J2E also matched it, that's interesting. Alright, let's continue. I'm just gonna Ankoku these guys.
Mini Mage, I think, sounds better. Just because it's two M's.
Oh. I'm just gonna poison these guys. If you mess with the mages, they do things to you. I don't like it when they do that. Alright, so I poisoned all the enemies. I want to see what they do. Oh, we're getting aspired. Someone asked if aspire might be from aspirate, and that's probably the case. Alright, let's do another one of these. Another Ankoku. Going through these caves without this special ability makes this place look more of a slog maybe in FF2. The Super NES version. Alright, we took them all out. All 6 enemies. Level up? Aw, no levels, no items. The sadness. Alright, we got barely any potions here, but let's get using them. The Spoony Bard stuff, I talked about it earlier, like the details of the scene, but we haven't reached the Spoony Bard scene. The Spoony Bard scene, we'll still like kind of cover it in brief. So don't worry. You can actually, if you go back on Twitch, you can probably go back live and go check it out. It's only a few minutes ago. Alright, we have a Hades armor here. And this also became, as we can see, it's going to become darkness in Super NES. The Hades armor. This became probably the Yami no Yoroi, the darkness armor. Just it's matching the same patterns that we've been seeing, so it's good. Yoroi, okay. Page 21 and 2. Can't believe I only have 4 potions. I usually will never go that low. Alright, we got the Erumesu no Kutsu, and that's like the Hermes shoes, literally. So Erumesu is like that Hermes. Oh, maybe it won't show up. Can I do this? So Hermes is like one of those Roman, Greek gods. I forget the details, but they have shoes, and I guess that makes them fast. Oh, I think is that also known as Nike?
I don't know.
And I think that's actually maybe where Nike gets the name, but it's one of those gods of running around fast, doing stuff, swift. I wanted to say it was Mercury, but I don't think that's the case. I think it's something separate. But anyway, so this item does not exist in the Easy Type version or the Super NES, thus they're called dummy. And these items will make you faster in battle, like temporarily as a boost.
So they totally took it away?
Uh-huh.
Man.
I don't remember what's in their place. Someone in the chat could mention it. I've already documented that on my site. So Erumesu no Kutsu became dummy. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. So there's that. We're about to go down here. Okay. I really wanted, we didn't mess with those toad monsters yet. I would have liked to mess with the toad monsters.
Did you put the shoes on?
No, they're not. No, those are just the Hermes shoes. They're an item to use in battle.
Oh, an item, not a thing.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay. There's no icon. Okay, I get it.
Alright, so this is where I think I could, first time I ever played this game, this is as far as I got, was this boss, and then I had to return it after renting it. So it's kind of like one of those like big landmark moments for me, where it's like, oh, I can get past that part after I rented it a couple weeks later. Okay, so we've walked up to another waterfall, and there's some weird tentacles sticking out of the waterfall. Now Tella shouts, Kuruzo! And that means it's coming, emphatically, and also has exclamation and a zo. This became he's coming in Super NES, here it comes in J2E, and here it comes in Naming Way. In Super NES, we can see it's giving this boss, it's giving it a gender, he. There's no such indication in the Japanese at all, so this is more of just someone's train of thought put it in there, or it just felt natural to put it there, or it just someone put it there and no one thought to say anything else. And then we see it called it in J2E and Naming Way. When you're not sure, I don't know. It doesn't really matter in the end, but as a translator, you want to sit there and think. You don't want to accidentally like give out info that's not true about the inner workings of the story, maybe. You don't want to give the wrong impression, basically. Oh, I didn't see what it said in Japanese, or J2E, oops. Alright, so 6 more tentacles have now surrounded us, so there's 8 total surrounding us. And then Tella now says, Koyatsu ga okutumanmos ja, okutumanmos. So it's like, octo is 8, and this other word, manmos, is mammoth. So it's like an 8 octomammoth is what it is. So Tella is saying this is octomammoth, kind of like with an emphasis on the this. Okay, so in Super NES, Tella just shouts octomam with M-A-M-M exclamation, and that's because they have to trim the name, I guess, in the Japanese battle or in the Super NES battle window, and so might as well just call it octomam. The use of octomam always kind of gave a like feminine vibe to me, just because of the word ma'am and mom and mammary and all that kind of stuff. Just all that kind of feminine feeling. And that's just me, reading through it as a native. But it's supposed to be mammoth all along. And then J2E gets it all the way, spells it all the way out, and it says octomammoth. Although it just says that and not the full sentence like Tella does. I won't mark any points off in here. Oh, it used to say this is octomammoth. And then in naming way, it becomes it's the Octomam, going back to the SNES style naming. All right, I'm not gonna mark anything off here. All right, so we did get a good question in here from Alkspread. It says, would Octo MMTH read better? I think that would have done better, yeah. All right, so this battle was kind of hard back in the day. It's not too bad now. But I'm also kind of weak, so we'll see. What I like to do is just chocobo this guy to death. Well, there's some dialogue in this, so I have to be careful with how I handle all this. Okay, we're doing a chocobo kick on this Octomam. We're in battle, and it's like this weird octopus monster with 8 tentacles. The idea is that we attack it, and we'll slowly reduce the tentacles. Yeah, so we heard it a little bit, and then some tentacles have fallen off or something. I don't know. Right, let's do another chocobo. I don't know if this is the ideal way that other people do it, but it's how I'm doing it. He does good attack here. I'm going to have to heal her in a second. I'll just do a nice heal spell or something. Alright, we got some more tentacles to go. Okay, we got Kiarura about to go from Tella. Because Rydia's getting low and she's almost about to die. Here we go. Alright, we're back in business. Okay, I think pretty soon a new dialogue is about to show up, so I gotta pause it in time. Do another chocobo. I feel like the text is gonna happen after this one, so I wanna hold off on sending Tello to do his stuff. Alright, another chocobo attack. Okay, we're good. I'm gonna have him do a thunder. Yeah, the way this enemy changed its sprite back in the day, this was also just crazy. It was crazy to see a battle change visually like this, and such big monsters. All really cool stuff back in the day. It's hard to see it or appreciate it these days, but back in the day it was really something. Also, this music is just great. Alright, here we go. I think we're down to 3 tentacles, it looks like. I'm expecting... Okay, I guess we're not getting that text yet. Come on, Cecil. Ooh, that's a good attack. Okay, we're down to 2. Okay, I had to pause it because now the Octomam is now down to 2 tentacles. And so we've weakened it quite a bit. Now Tello shouts, Sasuga Ankoku no Tsukaite. And that means something like, I would expect no less of a wielder of the dark sword. Like, he's basically really impressed with Cecil right now. And he's even emphasizing it. It's pretty nice. Alright, so he's specifically speaking to Cecil. He's talking about Cecil's battle, his battle prowess. In the Super NES version, this became just "good job!" ! And that's not really talking to Cecil or his showing his appreciation of the power of the dark sword. It's just saying "good job!" And that "good job" could also be seen to encompass Rydia as well, even though that's not the case. That's not the original author's intent, and that's the most important thing. You have to pay attention to the intent. So because of that, I'm going to mark Super NES off here. All right, so J2E, just what I expected from a Dark Knight, and that's what's being said. And then it used to say, just what I expected from a Dark Knight. This word Sasuga, it might trip people up if you're learning Japanese for the first time. Super can mean something like as one would expect of. It's often used as a good thing, like you're showing that you're impressed by someone, and that person only that person's really good at that. Maybe that's a terrible description, but it's basically in that realm. All right. So the naming way says "good job" and exclamation just like as Super NES. I'm going to mark that off for the same reasons. All right. Battle continues. Okay. So now Tella continues his sentence on a separate line. And if you're not watching it visually right now, if you're just listening to it, in battle, the text box at the top is so small. It's one line, and you only get maybe like 20 characters at most, maybe less. So you can't say a whole lot, especially in translation, because it takes more to say stuff out. It takes more characters usually to write things in English than you could in Japanese. Because in Japanese, sometimes you can just have one character mean like a whole long word. But in English, we have to spell everything out phonetically and everything. So anyway, that text space limitation really, really messes everything up. So anyway, we're doing the second line by Tella here. And he says, Ugoki ga niburiotta wai. Niburiotta wai. All right, so he's talking like an old Guile. Guile's old now, right? Old guy. He's talking, and then he's saying like, oh, its movements have dulled. There's some good I don't know, like characterization in here. You could totally tell just from a spreadsheet without any extra info that this is probably an old man, maybe an old woman, but probably an old man. But you don't really get that from the Super NES, and that just says he's slowing down, exclamation. But I won't mark anything off because I don't expect the Super NES people or anyone to really reinflate those speaking patterns. That would take a lot of extra work, and I don't think most people would even notice anyway. All right, so J2E, its movement is slackening. The use of the word slackening is pretty weird, but that's kind of good because the phrasing in Japanese is also kind of not standard. Like a little girl wouldn't say it the same way either. So I kind of like how the slackening is a little bit of a non-standard word. It goes kind of well there. Originally, this J2E used to say its movement, or the movement's slowing down. So it looks like this might be a teeny bit of an improvement, yeah, from the J2E old one to the new one. All right, and then the naming way, it just says, it's weakening. More literally, it's saying like its movements are becoming like, what's niburi? To grow dull, become blunt, to weaken. That's not bad, but it's more saying like it's moving slower. It's not, I won't mark it off, but it's weakening is a little different from that. All right, now we're back to battle. I don't know if there's any more text. If there is, I'll have to respawn very quickly. So there's 2 tentacles left on this boss, and we're just gonna wail on them now. Alright, now we're down to 1 tentacle. I think this one takes a while, but we're almost done with this boss. Oh, we beat the boss, everyone. Good job. You all get 500 gil. Alright, 400 experience. I really like this battle music and then like their sprites. It's real happy. Weird thing is that sometimes when their sprites hop up and down like this, the top of their sprite loses an outline sometimes. That's kind of funky. Where do you gain the level? What do we get? Nothing. Alright, so that's that music. Ah. Did you guys see what just happened? I was sitting there waiting to like let the music play out so that I could get to the text. Then the text automatically just disappeared. So I could restart the game. I don't have a rewind feature on this either. So for no reason at all, I'm gonna mark off the developers by marking off a point on everyone, and then I'm gonna restore it. So that's my punishment to the developers. That was like gameplay mechanics telling us what to do, and then if we hadn't read it in time, we missed it. Translate, yep. Alright. Well, we'll just assume that like the Death Star plans are hidden in that line and we'll never know. Alright, we're back outside. I don't need to heal, technically. But we just did a boss fight. We're gonna heal just because we're gonna have like a little party in this tent. So we made it back outside. We're out now outside of the underwater pass and all those caves. We're completely free of those. Now we're in a grassy area, but we're going to go walk into a desert area. And to the north is the castle we're headed to, Damcyan. And this part up here, this is probably this next step, I think, maybe 2 steps, is a cutscene where some airships will come and bomb the castle. But the way it pulls back, and then we see the sprites come in, do the bombing, and then leave, and then it scales back in, and then there's drastic music. This whole cutscene, the way it plays out is so nice. And back then there was nothing like this, on like Super NES at least, and NES definitely not anything like it. There were no cutscenes like that in Final Fantasy 1. This was probably like one of the first times where it feels like you're starting to watch a movie. You're not expecting this place to get bombed, and you're coming here to like continue your quest. And so it's like, oh no. It's really hard to convey how things felt back in the day. Alright, this step. No, we just went to battle, I was wrong. Alright, we got our first strike, so we'll just kill these guys real easy. We got a sandworm and a hand leg. I like hand leg. That's a cool looking sprite back then. That's a colorful sprite. I like it. I don't want to meet one. Okay. Sandworm, get out of here. They were like working together. Put there by Baron, maybe. Alright. Here we go.
Whoa. That is surprising. Nothing needed to load, it just happened.
Nothing loaded, and it just was like very matter of fact, and nothing had happened like it before. Just I was like, what? No. I'm supposed to go there.
The music here now.
Yeah, it's very drastic now. Alright. So the castle got bombed, we're back on the overworld, and we're gonna go walk into the castle now. The music has changed because the castle we want to go to is now ruins.
Panic.
Alright, so this is Damcyan, which is Damcyan Castle. And we can see in the Super NES version, it leaves out the word castle. Kind of like they did back in Baron. So maybe this is their consistent way of handling it. The reason I bring it up is just because maybe they were trying to save space, and this is one of their methods for saving space. So what we can do, we'll do it after, but there's a secret here with a bunch of like, you can go into the dungeon and get a bunch of free items. Like it's a real good treasury, but we won't go there right now. Alright, so as we walk into the ruined castle, there's a guy laying on the stairs. He looks like a lemming always to me, like a dead lemming. But he's a soldier with a helmet on, I guess, and he's like, looks like he could be dead. Let's talk to him. ... Does it make sense what that ... means?
No sound.
Yeah, there's just nothing coming out of him. And we continue to walk, we found another one, and he's also just ... So these guys seem to be dead or passed out, most likely dead because there's fires and ruins everywhere. Alright, we've gone inside the castle, we're on the first floor. You can see how Super NES calls it 1F, J2E calls it floor 1, and Nameway calls it 1F. This is just another case of we're all describing the same thing, but not everyone's going to describe it the same way. That's how translations work. Alright, so we found, now we're inside the castle, and we found some more soldiers, but now it looks like they can talk, but they're like stuttering and barely alive. Okay. This one goes, Kuristaru ubawareta, and ... exclamation at the end. So there's a bit of a stutter, followed by ... exclamation. This suggests maybe that he's like struggling to talk, probably from like his wounds. Even without the context of the game, like if you saw this in a spreadsheet, you could get the idea of what's happening. Alright, so Super NES, they say, they took the crystal ... exclamation. That's basically what this means, by the way. The crystal was stolen from us. It's in Japanese, it's a passive verb, ubawareta. In Super NES, they made it active, so they took the crystal, not that it was stolen from us. There's no difference there. It's common for translation to like switch between active and passive as needed. So in Japanese, passive is very common, so it's pretty common to switch to active in English, where we like active more. In fact, if you take English courses, they'll tell you all the time, don't write in passive, don't write in passive. But I think there are times when passive is good. Right. J2E goes the, right, TH, comma, the, crystal, ... stolen, ... exclamation. And that's like as close as you could probably get to the original there. Oh, they capitalized crystal in this version, but originally in old J2E, it was lowercase crystal. Ideally, I would have not capitalized it. It's okay. And then naming way says they took ... the crystal ... exclamation. This one feels like without the stuttering at the start, it's a little less clear that he's struggling, but you can still see it in there. Like if I was just looking at a plain spreadsheet, I could understand that he's probably struggling, so I'm okay with that. Okay, there's another like nearly dying soldier in the same room. Hiku te kara osoroshi hodo no bakugeki ka. Bakugeki ga ... That's saying from the airships, there was a tremendously or like a terrifyingly powerful explosive or bombing attack. But he's not finished the sentence. The verb is left undone with a ... there. So there is not technically a verb there. Let's see. So from that, like you can tell that he's not able to finish his sentence. In the Super NES version, it is just a complete sentence. Terrible bombardments from the airships, period. So his distress, his weakness is missing in the Super NES. That's a characterization that I would have liked to have included. If you had looked at just a plain spreadsheet without any context, you wouldn't know that he's like struggling for his life, maybe. Struggling with strength. Okay, so J2E, the ... red ... wings ... That's not what Speed said. He's blaming here the red wings, but it's saying like we had a terrible, or like a osoroshi hodo is like dreadful level. Hodo is like amount, degree. Bakugeki is like a bombing, like bomb attack, literally. So there's a terrible bomb attack from the airships. And the red, in J2E they say the red wings, so they literally are pointing out like it is not just any airships, it's literally just the red wings specifically. It doesn't talk about bombing either. There's some details in here that I would have liked to have included, and so I want to take off on that. Did I already take on? Mm-hmm. Okay. Naming way. The attack ... was brutal ... The airship. Yeah, I would have liked airships and bombing to be involved in this line, so I'm gonna take one off of naming way. So all of these are weird in a different way. That's just how old game translations be. Alright, so now we can go upstairs. The heck is that? Is that birds?
I don't know. Let me go see.
We might have a bird that is in our house now. Okay, there's crazy birds out there. Alright, so we're on the second floor now. On the second floor is just like a bunch. There's 4 dead soldier looking guys again. There's a bunch of empty treasure chests and one treasure chest that is not open, and a bunch of just wrecked pillars and stuff. Alright, let's talk to this guy up top. ... Everyone got that. Okay, so this other soldier, soldier number 2 we'll call him, is basically saying the same thing as before with the terrible bombardments from the airships. I think it's probably just the same line being pulled. Alright, so this other, soldier number 3, says ue no ... kaifuku no tsugo made ... exclamation. So he's struggling to say what he's saying. What he's basically trying to say is he wants to get to the pot of recovery, the life pot of recovery, or whatever, upstairs. Like he's on his way, like he wants to get there. That made is like indicating intent. He's really wounded. If he can just get there.
Even his sprite is facing towards the stairs.
Right, so there's that. So he's struggling to talk, and the idea is that maybe he's struggling to get up the stairs to heal himself, and he's probably not going to make it. And Super NES, this became there's a pot of recovery above, exclamation, and that's all. So this became almost like it's just a hint for us. Like if we had that hard time going through all those caves, now there's a pot of recovery above. Mm-hmm. That's nice. Like this could have been like a little girl in the town of happiness saying this thing. Mm-hmm. But in the original Japanese, you definitely don't get that vibe. Alright, J2E. Oh, wait, let me mark that off. Okay, J2E. I've got to make it to the healing pot above, ... exclamation. Yeah, so that's what I was trying to say. So J2E gets it close here. Naming way says a pot of lives, ... above, ... So I can see him struggling here. Yeah. The only time you would say this is maybe if you're trying to get to it, maybe, or if you're already having troubles. So I like that. I like how the naming ways made it. I would have liked maybe the exclamation because like he's really trying to get there, but it's not a big deal. Okay, and then the soldier 4 is ... All right, so let's check this treasure chest and see what we get. We have a tent.
I was gonna say if it's a pot of recovery, then that's confusing. But it was a tent. So that's good.
It's a tent. Tents are so strong they can survive bombings.
It's got that good name brand.
Third floor. Do a save state here, so I don't have to redo this all. But this is where the scene is going to play out now. So as you recall, we're on our way here. Tella is here because his daughter ran away with a bard, and he wants to come. Like, he doesn't like that bard. He wants his daughter. He doesn't like the daughter being with the bard. So that's why Tella is here. And we're here to like get the aid of the royal family, so we can go get the medicine to heal Rosa. So we're here for our different reasons. Alright. It's gonna be a long scene, everyone. Get ready, get an hour's worth of snacks ready. Alright. So we're walking into the room. This is like the top floor of the castle. And there's a bunch of dead soldiers everywhere. And in the middle of the room it looks like a woman who is dead. So we're gonna start to walk into the room. Right, Tella steps forward and goes, Arewa ... Oh, Anna. And that's basically saying that, oh, Anna, something like that. You recognize that it's Anna, and then like there's a shout. Just like, oh, with some weirdness here. That in Japanese or Super NES became that as Anna, exclamation, exclamation, Anna. So weird. I don't know what that's supposed to be. We don't really say that kind of stuff, do we? Right, but it's okay. He's more like, what is that? Like, there's like a hint of like, is that or that's ... Literally, he just says that as Anna right off the bat, but it's okay. In J2 he says that's ... That kind of good. Then the oh became oh my god, exclamation, Anna, exclamation. So we have like extra exclamations, and oh my god came in here. I mentioned like putting God in, like we say this stuff all the time in real life. This is common like phrase. Yeah, this is like common English. And I've already mentioned like inserting God things can be good or bad. Or it can be neutral. You just got to be careful as a translator. I wouldn't have put this in here, but that's okay. It's all conveyed in there. So naming we just says Anna. So his like shocked sound, the O isn't in there. The one that became and then like his like at first he's like Arewa ... where he's like coming to the realization of what he's seeing, but you don't have that anywhere in naming way. So I'm gonna take off a point on that. I could go 2 off on that. Well, because the first one is missing. Yeah, okay, there's 2 things missing in the naming here. So I'm going to take that off. Alright, so Tella runs to the woman. Meanwhile, a bard comes in, and now Tella looks really angry at this bard. And then he shouts, Kisama, ano toki no ginyu shijin, Kisama no sei de anna wa. And he's saying you, but it's like you. It's like one of the worst ways you can say you in Japanese is Kisama. Yeah, this dictionary just says you, and I don't really understand what these little other things mean. But don't ever say Kisama in real life unless you know what you're doing. All right. So you, like when we just say you, it reduces that harshness so hard. All right. So we'll have to try to reinflate that probably. Anyway, ano toki no ginyu shijin became you're that bard from that time. And I'm assuming that is like he's referring to when Anna and the bard ran off. All right. Kisama no sei de anna wa. It's your fault that Anna, like, the incomplete sentence is Anna is like this, Anna has died, whatever. It's your fault that Anna is. All right. In Super NES, you're the bard. You did this to her. I did something here. Right. Yeah, a lot of these times, like Kisama here I was talking about, a lot of times you don't need technically to reinflate with words. If you're able to, you can reinflate with tone. But that's more of a thing that you can do with like either like italics or caps. But that would work best with like a dub with voicing, if you could do that. Okay, you're the bard. You did this to her. All right, that's okay. He's still blaming to her, but not directly. I don't think he thinks that the bard caused the bombing or all his death necessarily. All right.
It's just she's here because of you.
Yeah, exactly. It's not direct, whatever. All right, so in J2E, you're that bard. Well, actually, let me just say that after this. No, okay, never mind. Taylor says, you're that bard. Bard is in caps. And then the next line for became, okay, I have to swear. As a translator, you have to become clinical about words. And every once in a while, I'm going to have to read swear words. I know swear words and stuff like that are rough. So if that stuff is rough, I apologize. But the fan translation does start to add a lot of swears into this. And that's why I'm saying, like, as the story gets going, we're going to start seeing new patterns emerge. So here we have, you son of a bitch, Anna's dead because of you. You're that bard, you son of a bitch, Anna's dead because of you, is how that plays out. It used to be something else, but not too different. It was just some formatting mostly. It looks like Anna dead, like, because of you. It had some bad grammar in the old patch. All right. So you can see how I was telling you how the Kisama is really rude, and you'd probably want to reinflate that, because if you translate it just as you lose it. And that's what the J2E translator has done here. That really rudeness from Kisama. They brought it out into its own line and reinflated it with this phrase, you son of a bitch. And that is kind of how he's feeling. Like, I don't think Square Enix would probably ever put that in there, but if someone did, then it would be acceptable. I would say it's 100% acceptable. I won't take points off because they were actually doing, I would call this localization, where they have to do the reinflation. I'm not fond of the swearing. Like, you could probably do this other ways. Swearing is weird in English, and I don't know how to explain it well, but people react very differently to it. Some people just like water to them, and other people it's like you have to look away and wash your face.
But I would say that son of a bitch is a good phrase for Kisama.
It's good. But then it's funny because if you say that, then he's the prince. So then you're talking about?
Usually, yeah. That phrase usually doesn't mean literal.
Yeah. All right. So in for J2E, for doing the reinflation, I will give it a point. I'm not a fan of the swearing in there, but that's my personal taste. It's like seasoning. Like, you put a lot of salt in there because there's a lot of salt in the original, but maybe too much salt for my liking. I would have gone with a little less salt, but that's good. All right. And then Damien Way just says, you're that bard. You did this. That's basically just a retelling, or like taken from Super NES and chopped a little bit. All right. So it's missing the part about, let's see. It's missing the rudeness. I would have liked that. So I'm going to take off point on Naming Way. Also on Super NES, because that rudeness really is strong in there. And then, okay, so in response to this really harsh words, the bard, who is still just called Bard, or Troubadour or something in Japanese, goes exclamation question mark. And then we can see how that exists in Super NES, J2E, but not in Naming Way. So we're going to take off one from Naming Way. All right, here it comes.
Well, he just walked right up at his face.
All right, so I mentioned before that Spoony Bard, you Spoony Bard. I talked about it for maybe like 10, 20 minutes at the start of the stream. So if you're watching this live and you want to know more details, you can just go back. I think you can go back live and look at that right now and then hop back in. But basically, you Spoony Bard is not in the original Japanese text at all. And because it's what I call a legacy term, like if you remove it, fans are going to get pissed and won't buy your game or won't like your patch. It's become like a fan demand. You just don't touch it. You don't mess with it. You leave that in there, or they're going to just not, your sales will go down or something.
It shows the symbiotic relationship between fans and creators there.
I do feel that when you create a work of art, you're creating it for an audience, and it's never complete until it meets that audience. And then once that happens, the two of them are shared. Like they share ownership over it, in a way. All right, so because this Spoony Bard line is not in the original Japanese, every time there's a retranslation or like a fan translation, and because they have to stick Spoony in there, they all stick it in there in different ways at different times. Originally, as we'll see, it's not until about like line 3 or 4 that it happens, but in some versions, which we won't see here because like I don't have all 20 versions of the game running here, they'll stick it right at the first line. Let's see how this plays out. And I'll do it line by line, of course. So we're in battle. This is an auto battle, and now Tella is physically attacking the Bard. Tella is not a physical attack guy. He could totally just wipe this Bard out immediately because he has that fire magic. He's like a magic master. The fact that he's physically attacking him instead of doing that kind of lends a hint as to his mental state.
Like he's running on adrenaline.
He's like, I'm just gonna kill you. Like he doesn't take a step back and just do medial or something. Compare this to what he does later, you know. All right, so Tella attacks the Bard. The Bard takes damage. Now Tella shouts, "Kisama, yokumo musumeo." And again, we have another Kisama here, and he's like, "You, how dare you, verb my daughter, ... Whatever the verb is because it's missing from Japanese, you have to insert it. This whole scene is such a mess in translations. It's going to take a while. Okay, so this first line is basically, how dare you do that to my daughter? And it's really rude. And it's like an incomplete thought, feeling. Like he hasn't, his rage is boiling. It hasn't reached its boil yet, but it's there. Right, and this became in Super NES, "You swindler!" exclamation. So that's just already not even the same translation, right?
No.
All right. I'm going to take a point off of that. Again, these boxes are so tiny that they kind of just had to rephrase and rewrite things. And I think that's maybe where Spoony Bard came out of. All right, so the J2E for this says, "How could you do this to my daughter, ... However, the rudeness here is not there. This strong rudeness is not in there at all. I would have liked that.
Oh.
What's this?
It used to say, "You and my Anna."
I don't understand it. Yeah, I guess so. Saying "you and my Anna." All right. I would have liked the strength, so I'm going to take one off on J2E here. In the naming way, it also just became "you swindler," just completely copying the Super NES. So I'm going to take a point off on that. Oh, also notice because it's ... It suggests he's about to say another line, maybe. But before he can, the Bard stops and shouts, "Chigaimasu!" exclamation. And that means, well, I would translate this as, "it's not what you think," but literally means it's different. Like, "Chigaimasu" is different, not correct. I would be like, it's not what you think, is kind of the vibe that "Chigaimasu" here will give off. And then Super NES becomes, "Please, listen." Okay, I see he's trying to, like, plead for himself here. J2E becomes, "No, wait." Okay, that's also there. Naming way, "Please, listen." Okay, that's basically Super NES. These are all okay. Oh, wait, okay. Okay, we're back to the battle. So, remember, he just said, "it's not what you think." In Japanese is what the Bard just said. So Tella is going to respond by attacking and then saying something. He attacks and then says, "Nani ga chigau toyu no da?" Just what is different, or just how is it not how I think, is how this phrase is flowing. How is it not that way? And he's doing it in like a dismissive way. And then this is where the line, "You Spoony Bard," comes from in the Super NES. And you can see it's not the same at all. So on this base, it's just a straight up translation test. If you wrote that as "You Spoony Bard" for that, you'd probably get a laugh maybe, but then you'd get it marked off in like an actual school. I'm going to take a point off there. All right, J2E. Same line. Remember, the Japanese is like, "How is it not how I think?" or "How is it different?" But before, the previous line was like, no, wait, in J2E. So now Tella is responding to that by saying, wait, ba. So he's basically like turning his sentence. In Japanese, he's turning the bard's sentence back at the bard. And that misses the mark in Super NES, but the same thing is happening in J2E, so I'm okay with this. Wait, ba. And then the naming way, you Spoony Bard pulls from the Super NES, so I'm gonna take that off. So there you go. There's the line. It's gonna pass us by real fast. Bye, Spoony. Okay. All right. So in response, the bard now says, "Hanashi o kite kudasai." He's being polite, polite and nice, and saying, basically, please hear me out, or please hear what I have to say. He's not technically saying what I have to say. There's no pronouns in here. And so who's being referenced, I don't know. But you can probably just translate it as, please hear me out. Please listen. Please listen to my story. Please listen to what I have to say. Super NES, this became please. You could probably have fit please listen in the Super NES. This thing is like, if you put that text up in here, it'd get real scrunched. I don't know, might not have enough room, so I don't know, technically that might not have been possible. All right. I'll be nice on this line. This became listen to me please. This is what I would have liked closer, is the J2E has listen to me please. This used to be please listen to me instead. Both work. But the pleading is stronger when you have the please at the end. That's another strange effect in some writing. How effective a word is in one language, its position in sentence might not be the same as another language. Sometimes you want to end on a real emotional final word. Doing something like this is really nice. I like how this turned out. I'm actually gonna give them a point for that. And then please also happened here with naming way. I'm gonna mark off on that. All right, Tilla still not listening, and he's fighting. Okay, Tilla tries to attack the bard again, and then goes, damare. This is not really a word. I don't know how to explain it. It's more like just like a sound that is made when you're sick and tired of something sometimes, and especially in a conversation or something like that, or you're just like sick and tired of dealing with someone, you go, it's written strangely here, but that's how it goes, damare. It's pretty common for this to just not get translated, the A. If you can find a way to do it, to reflate it, it's pretty good. It'd be kind of like, oh, shut up. That O is the closest I can think of right now, like that O. It's different from having it and not having it. There is a small difference, but it's not a big deal. So it's basically saying, shut up. Be silent, something like that. It's pretty rude. It's like the rudest that you could probably say for shut up. Be silent as a command. Okay, so that just became shut up in SNES. And then J2E, shut up. You Spoony Bard. So we can see that they put the Spoony Bard in here on this line. Because if they hadn't, then people would get upset, right? Looks like they added it in the modern patch. Well, I say modern, it's from 2001, but the old patch was actually like truer to the original Japanese text, and it didn't have Spoony Bard at all. So for a little while, there was a translation of Final Fantasy IV that didn't have you Spoony Bard in it. And you'll have to go back to 1998, I guess, for that. I'm going to take a point off because Spoony Bard is not in there. Oops, I keep going to that one. Okay. J2E lost its good point from earlier. All right. And naming way says silence. And that's fine. I don't expect that A to get translated, especially in this kind of like tight space. That was probably the best spot to put you Spoony Bard, though. All right. So the bard is still trying to make his plea. He's being polite, and he says, onegai desu. See, and then basically saying, please, I beg you, something like that. Super NES, that became listen. I think I remember being kind of confused by this. If this had just been please, this would have been a lot better, because I think we start to hear Anna talk in a second. And that might have suggested incorrectly that the bard heard Anna. I won't take a point off because that is just me. Okay, J2E says, please. And then in a naming way, the bard says, I didn't, ... So he's being really emphatic while also trying to hold Tella off and get him to listen. The emphaticness isn't here. Maybe it'll show up on the second line that it'll happen. I don't know. But he's really like shouting back. Like if you could hear this, there'd be people shouting back and forth in a castle, like ruined a castle right now. And naming way is like I didn't, as if he's kind of just quieter about it. Basically, he's just trying to withstand this assault of emotions. No big deals though. All right, Tella doesn't care. He attacks, but he's missing. All right, so now Tella, after attacking, goes kono itami, anna no itami, ... Which kind of just means, I gotta wait for that to stop. Okay, this pain, this part literally means this pain, Anna's pain, ... Kono itami, this, itami is pain, ache, sore, grief, distress, anna no itami. So this pain is Anna's pain. And then, he's doing his dots. At Super NES, this became shut your mouth, exclamation. I'll take off point on that. And J2E, this pain, ... Carriage return, Anna's pain, period. It's a little weird, but because the J2E actually expanded this little battle text window up here to have two lines, that's why we're able to have that carriage return I just mentioned. It was like a big deal. It let dialogue in the battle breathe a lot better. Just this little technical improvement really allowed for a lot more text and characterization to go in there. The phrasing's a little weird at the end there. I would have liked some more dots, but that's okay. Originally, I used to say, feel Anna's pain, which I guess is what he's trying to say anyway. Naming way says, shut your mouth, also. So I'm going to take a point off on that. All right, now the bard is saying, Anna toa, ... So Anna and I, ... is kind of how that's going. And then in Super NES, this became I. So the whole part about Anna is missing there. I'm going to take that out. And then J2E goes, I was ... That's not what's being said. I used to say something else. I used to say Anna is ... which is closer to what it used to be. It was kind of a backward step for them to change that. Did I change that already? I'm going to change another. All right, and then naming way goes I, which again isn't what's happening here. So I take those points off, but like I say, it would have been probably impossible to get any kind of decent translation into such tight spaces for Super NES and naming way. When I was doing the Funky Fantasy 4, it was tough to deal with these battle windows because you have to really just squish everything down. It's so hard. These terrible battle windows. All right, so now suddenly a new person is talking. The woman who we thought was dead is now shouting from outside of the battle. Is now shouting, "Onegai, futari tomo yamete." You can almost hear. I can hear the delivery because these little tsus at the end. These aren't here just by accident. They're here for delivery purposes. And basically saying, "Please, you two stop. Please stop, both of you. Please, both of you stop." Kind of like that. The yamete is kind of like it's in a sort of semi-command form that is kind of associated with feminine speaking styles. So that's a hint already. Onegai a little bit. But she's kind of like screaming with the last of her breath feeling, like that kind of where you get like the high-pitched. Just think of like a high-pitched, you probably can't go any higher as you're screaming for your life or something. That's the feeling I get from that. I can almost just hear like an anime or something. Right. And then Super NES, this just becomes, please stop. So what we see in the Japanese is She has love for both people. Futari tomo yamete. If she wanted one side to win over the other, she could have just said one or the other, right? But she likes them both, doesn't want them to fight. It's hard for that to appear in the Super NES here. She's not telling both of us to stop. Like who she's telling to stop, it's not as clear. It's, yeah. It could be better, but like given the situation, I'm not gonna do anything. Yeah, in fact, all of these say please stop, so I'm gonna say that this is okay. The please and stop are in there. The futari tomo would be nicer to have, which means both of you. And what else? Yeah, I guess there's and then the little nuances that are probably impossible to bring across. This used to say please, you too, stop. So this used to be in here, and it was kind of a backward step, I guess, for J2E. So we're seeing some weird backwardness. So I'll just let those ones go. They're free to go. All right, now the battle ends. Now we're back out to the overworld. Tella walks over to Anna's body on the ground, and so does the Bard. And then so does Rydia and Cecil. We're now all surrounded and like the lady on the floor. She looks like she's dead, but apparently she can talk a little bit. All right, so Tella now says, Anna ikite ite kureta ka. Anna, you stayed alive for me. ... Okay, so we can see that the easy type, well, first this line of text, this is going to beginning of a long scene. So there's going to be a lot of text, and we're probably going to be here for about 20 to 30 minutes. All right, and we can see that the easy type is going to have a lot of changes in this text, but this first line is not a problem. All right, so in Super NES, Anna, you stayed alive for me became, are you all right? The whole point of that is missing, so I'm going to take that point off. And then J2E says, Anna, you're still alive, ... That's closer. But the kureta ka is a nuance. You stayed alive for me, like for my sake kind of feeling. That's missing. I'm not going to make any points on that. And then Anna, you're alive. Okay. I guess only the Super NES one was kind of bad on that case. Next line. Now Anna is going to talk. Oto-san ... kare ... girubato wa kono Damcyan no oji ... Okay, I better stop there. So, father ... he ... Gilbert is the prince of this place Damcyan ... So she's struggling to speak. She's choosing her words and trying to string them together, but it's a little bit of a struggle. There's a couple important things in here, though. Let me see if anything changed here. Okay, nothing in an easy type yet. So what's going on is father, he, Gilbert, is the Damcyan's prince. First, if you've played Final Fantasy 2 or 4 in English before, you'll be like, who's Gilbert? And in Japanese, his name is actually Gilbert. We know him as Edward. And the reason for this change seems to be that when this Bard, who I'll just start calling Edward probably from now on, when he's in battle, you can only have like 5-letter names, I think. But Gilbert comes out to 6 or 7. Yeah, that's like 7. So maybe it's 6 letters that you could have normally, but it's too long. So Gilbert wouldn't have fit. So they decided to come up, I don't know who they is, but someone decided to come up with Gilbert or Edward. So I brought this up real quick. So Gilbert is his name in Japanese. And then in after years, you can see here, I brought up some images. The old, good manual or good guides spells his name Gilbert properly with an E in there. I guess properly is questionable. But because of the way Japanese works, that his name is Girubato, that they don't have an sound in Japanese, so they just do instead. And because they don't have an sound, they're not sure how to deal with it when they have to spell it out in English. So that's how we have things like Gilbart here in the after years. It's very common to see this kind of thing happen where vowels will get mixed up. I have a big old article on this on Legends of Localization. It's one of my favorite articles, so check it out. It's not just about L and R, it's about like these Rs and Rs and S's and TH's. There's all kinds of cool stuff. Now, we called him Edward in English. He's always known as Edward from then on in English, in all versions, I think. But there's an interesting thing. There's a character later in the game named Edge that we're going to meet. And he's a ninja. And we never learn it during the game. But Edge's real name, his first name is Edward. So that kind of makes things more complicated, like jumping between languages back and forth, if you're someone like me. But it's just good trivia to know, I guess, if you're a big fan. These names are weird, and names are always weird. Like, it was always just a mystery how names were going to be handled. Every show, every project I worked on professionally back in the day, you never knew how they wanted the names to be done, or maybe you could spell them the way you want. But that was like kind of rarer. They usually would tell you to spell it this way. All right, so with all that said, let me go back to the big mode here so I can see better. All right, so all that stuff I just said, I gotta get over here. Okay, so Dad, Gilbert is the Damcyan's prince, and she's barely holding together. She's barely stringing these sentences together. But in the Super NES, it becomes Father, comma, Edward is the prince of Damcyan, period. You wouldn't know. Yeah, you wouldn't know that she's struggling like here. So there's strong nuances here. Like, this is pretty important. J2E. Father, ... he, ... Gilbert is the prince of Damcyan. Okay, this is on par. All right. Then in naming way, this became Father ... Edward's the prince of Damcyan. And again, we're missing that she's struggling.
Well, there's a ...
Well, if I was looking at this as a spreadsheet, I wouldn't know.
Okay.
Like, look how crazy this is compared to this. This feels like almost a standard.
Mm-hmm. Like she doesn't want to say.
Yeah. I mean, it could go multiple ways is the thing. When it's so clear in Japanese, that's the thing. You want to try to also keep parity with the crispness, the clearness of the original. You don't want to introduce ambiguities, basically, as a translator. That's one of the biggest parts, and you never really think about it unless you are a translator. All right. Next sentence looks like it's going to break across the window, so let me do this. All right, so she's still struggling to talk. She says in Japanese, Mibu no kakusu tame, ... Ginyu shijin toshite kaipo ni kita no, ... So in order to hide his identity, ... he came to Kaipo as a bard. How does this thing translate it again? A troubadour or minstrel is literally how that would come about. A bard is such a good short word. All right, so his bard thing is a disguise all along. All right, so he was disguised as a bard when he came to see me in Kaipo, is how it says in Super NES. Again, the ... are missing. I would have liked them, but I won't fault them on this one because she is kind of doing a full sentence here, just struggling with it. This no here, it has a really good feminine quality to it at the end of the sentence. You can even see it here on the dictionary. It has feminine sentence ender. You won't see that in any of these translations because it falls out of the translation. You can try to reinflate it if you want, if you think it's necessary. It doesn't look like anyone has tried. Yeah, I don't think anyone has tried. You'd probably have to use some like special wording or something to try to convey that feminineness. All right. So the thing is that he came as to hide his identity, and that became kind of just as disguised. That's fine. So in order to hide his identity, he came to Kaipo as a bard. That was also pretty good. That's pretty good. Would have like maybe ... instead of a comma here. And then the naming way, this all got like squished down to he came to Kaipo as a bard. ...
To hide his identity.
Oh yeah, to hide his identity. ... He came to Kaipo as a bard. So I was wrong there. Thanks, Paul. You get a pull point.
Yay.
To hide his identity, he came to Kaipo as a bard. Okay, very good. I like them all. Then, okay, let's continue. All right, so she's continuing now. Now she's going to apologize. with her dots also. So gomen nasai, otosan. Katte ni tobidashitari shite, So I'm sorry, father, for running off without permission or saying anything like that. This became, forgive me, comma, father, comma, for running away. So in this one line, we have a whole bunch of dots in Japanese, but it's just all brought down to a single period in Supernia. So you're losing some of that again. All right. J2E says, forgive me for running away, father, Yeah, okay. Father, forgive me for running off like that, Oh, okay, those are okay. Next line. Watashi Girubato aishiteru no, So I am in love with Gilbert, I love Gilbert. And so this line clearly will have can I even click on that? Or am I clicking the wrong thing?
Yeah.
I keep clicking the wrong things. All right. So she's saying I love Gilbert, and she's doing it as in like an explanation of what's happening. We're getting some changes soon, not yet. But I love Edward is what that became in Super NES. Yeah, we've got the Edward thing happening. There's a but here. That's not technically in the Japanese, but that's basically what, there's a contrast feeling happening. And then in J2E, this became I love Gilbert. It's so strange. There's a strange delivery of that line. Okay, I can see how that might come about, but it's strange. All right. That became I love Edward in naming way. Okay. Continue. All right. So Anna is still talking. She goes, Demo, daisuki no otosan ni, yurushite morawanakchatte, kaipo ni modoro to shita toki, So, I wanted my beloved father to, like, forgive me or approve of, or like I wanted his approval. So when I was going to go back to Kaipo, So all that instead, there's a bunch of dots in here again. She's still struggling. Okay. In Super NES, this became, we thought of asking for your consent, but when we were about to leave, I don't know if it's we or I. The thing is, the native Japanese is translating this, so maybe they can see even deeper into what pronouns are assumed. The feeling I got was that she is not bringing him into this discussion at all. Okay. I love Gilbert. Okay, looks like J2E might lose. Demo daisuki no otosan ni yurushite morawanakchatte. All right. I think this is
nothing below.
Because we start getting to the Golbez talk.
Okay.
We start getting to the next. Yeah. So J2E is missing. So I could break this up into 3 lines if I wanted. If I wanted to be a jerk, I will count this as 1. But boy, there's a lot missing in the J2E. Okay, I don't know what to do about it, so I'm gonna take off 2 because that's like a big thing. It's a big important scene, motivation of what she was doing. She tried to come back, but then stuff happened. All right, naming way.
Did it used to be in there?
Yeah, did it used to be in here? Nope. So the translator must have accidentally missed it. They on the really, really old J2E, they must have just missed that part. Or they didn't know how to translate it, but it seems easy enough. All right. But I wanted your blessing. Yeah, basically she wanted the blessing. This is the feeling I'm getting. I feel like I wanted your blessing. I don't think the Bard really cared. It was just more like the daughter needed to do the convincing. That's the vibe I get, but the Japanese translator might have seen more than I can see. I don't know. The part about, yeah, okay. I wanted your blessing. We were about to leave then, ... Or we were about to leave when ... So the detail about returning. So both the Super NES and the name remove the detail that they were just about to go back to Kaipo. Like they were on their way to go back to Kaipo when this stuff happened. Specifically to Kaipo. Here it kind of suggests we're going to go to you to see you. There's a detail in there. If you guys want to mark off a point in your head, you're free to. I'm going to skip that one. All right, so now his name is Gilbert. It says, okay, we're now switching discussions. We're going to start switching discussions to Golbez and stuff like that. All right. So in Japanese, Golbez is actually called Gorubeza. There's a za at the end. And we just dropped that as that a at the end to Golbez. That's probably because it's also one of those names in the battle menu, or it would be too long. So they dropped the extra one, the extra stuff at the end. Also, Golbez kind of has at least over here, where like you live next to Mexico and stuff, where stuff ends with an O, it's male, and A is a female, kind of. You know, like Chico and Chica. So any stuff in A, and there's this big badass dark dude. It's a little bit of a mix, like not a clean mix. That could be another reason. I'm not really sure why they would have changed the name. Well, speaking of, well, we'll get to it in a second, I guess. All right, so Gorubeza to nanoru mono ga hikiru baro no akai tsubasa ga. So this is an incomplete sentence with the verb left unstated, which is common in Japanese. He's saying the Baron's Red Wings, led by one known as Golbeza ... That's how that flows. How we will deal with that in translation, everyone will handle incomplete sentences differently, so we'll see. So Edward says, in Super NES, Golbez attacked us with Baron's Red Wings. So basically it's said in Japanese that he leads the Baron's Red Wings now. That detail is kind of missing. Just that Golbez, Right. So Golbez attacks us with Baron's Red Wings. I mean, the idea that if he's doing that, he must be able to lead it, right? I guess I'm going to say that's okay. And you can see because it's an incomplete sentence, he does ... sort of, but because it's a full sentence in Super NES, it became a period. This is fine because we had to fill in the verb. And this is also another reason why punctuation, you can't just like do, if there's dots here, we should put dots there. Sometimes it makes sense and sometimes it won't. Every language is different, like I mentioned back in like day 2. Okay. J2E, Gilbert. Oh yeah, they call him Gilbert in J2E because, you know, keeping close to the original. They spell Golbez's name like Golbez with an E at the end instead of an A, which is fine. Maybe it's supposed to be pronounced that way, who knows. Golbeza is controlling the Red Wings ... It's more like saying that it was Golbez who did this, who caused this. And he just happens to be leading the Red Wings. But I won't mark off on that. Edward says, in naming way, Baron's Red Wings attacked us, led by someone named Golbez. That's actually like right on there. Like attacked us is what they filled in the blank for the verb.
And that Golbez was leading.
And then led by someone named Golbez is intact here. So I kind of like this. It gets the full thing where the others don't. So I'm going to give a point to naming way there. I smell something burning.
I think let me check.
I've been smelling it for a while now. All right. Now Cecil's talking. You can see Cecil's talking because it has the weird little thingy there. He's saying, Golbez to wa itai nani mono nanda? And it says, Golbez, who is that? Who is that person, kind of? Just who is Golbez? The itai is an intensifier there.
It's the rice cooker.
Really? Oh no. Maybe there's rice at the bottom. All right. So let's see. Just who is Golbez? That became, who is that man? ? That's fine. Who is Golbez? and J2E, and who's Golbez in naming way. The phrasing in Japanese I would have liked more than just something that short and terse, and also that seems short and terse. Who is that man? Also seems shorter than I would have liked, but that's okay. I'll stick with it. Are we any changes yet? Okay, yeah, so this line seems to mark some of the first changes in the easy type of the scene. Previously in the scene, it seems that the easy type adds some spaces, but now we got some new text. So that part where I said Gorobeza to nanoru mono ga, one who names himself Golbez, one named Golbez, became Gorobeza to nanoru mono. Oh, it's the same, it just has a space. Okay, looks like it's mostly just added a space, and somehow that really scared the script into thinking it was bigger than it was. All right, so there's just some formatting changes so far. And then what's going on in here? Okay, nothing yet. All right, so Cecil asking just who the heck is this Golbez guy? Gilbert responds, wakarimasen, ... Kuroi iona kachu ni mi o tsusunde ite, ... Hito to wa amoenu tsuyosa de, ... So I'm not sure, ... He was clad in a black, odd armor, suit of armor. Unusual armor, I guess you'd say. The iona is important, ... And then with strength that hardly seems human, ... It's kind of how that all kind of goes. So there's technically 2 to 3 sentences in this. In this. All right. So Supernius just says, I don't know, period.
What?
All of that. So all the details. So there's 2, let's say there was 2 lines here. We'll take off 2 here. All right. And then J2E, I don't know, ... He was cloaked completely in black, ... Unbelievably powerful, period. This kachu isn't reflected, the suit of armor thing isn't reflected, and the iona, there's a phrase in here that's interesting. So it goes kuroi, which is black, and iona, which is like bizarre, strange, eccentric, odd, queer. That's how that is. There's just other ones in here, but it's not those ones. Like with dignity and medical use, those aren't applicable to this one. So it's not only black or dark, there's something off or odd or weird about it. Like it's not just some normal suit. Like kachu, is that armor and helmet? All right, so he's cloaked completely in black. The part about it being strange and unusual matters because look, they changed it in the easy type. Instead of kuroi iona kachu ni mi o tsusunde ite, it becomes kuroi yoroi ni mi o tsusunde ite. So it takes out actually the part about it being weird or strange or uncanny. It just takes that part out because that's kind of a fancy word that younger readers might not have caught at the time or been able to understand. Also, they changed the word kachu, which is armor and helmet, to just the standard word for yoroi, which is a suit of armor. So for the Japanese people, this word and this phrasing was pretty important, and enough that they would change it. And then J2E, we see that there's those details are missing to begin with. So I do kind of want to take a point off just because it's that important. And we already took off points for Supernius. Also, unbelievably powerful is different from like, you wouldn't even think he's human, or you wouldn't think he's a person. He's so strong. All right. That became, I don't know, period. He was clad in black armor, period, in naming way. So a whole bunch of stuff's being missing. Like, looks like 1 sentence is missing about the strength that hardly seems human. And the part about the iona, I would have liked that. Because it's bringing extra emphasis to the weirdness of the armor. It's not just black. All right, so now Cecil responds, Naze akai tsubasa ga? And then exclamation question. So he's upset. He's like, what? The Red Wings did this? Like, how is it that the Red Wings would do this, such a thing? And then Suprenius, this became but, comma, why, question mark. So there's a weird tone, and he's asking specifically about the Red Wings because that was like the place that he just left. So there's a couple issues here I would like to have had better. J2E, why did the Red Wings bomb the castle? Question mark. Okay, I would have liked, definitely this should have been an exclamation in there. And since this is an incomplete sentence in Japanese, it looks like they filled in the verb with bomb the castle. In Japanese, it's more like, why did the Red Wings? And then the thought ends there. That's how Japanese flows. All right. And we can see that in naming way. Why would the Red Wings ... question mark exclamation. This one gets all the best when the others don't. So I'm going to give it a point. Okay, Gilbert goes on to say, Yatsura wa kristaro wa to hi o hanachi ... There's a lot going on in this sentence, so I'm going to do that one separate. So they set fires upon taking the crystal ... and they're going to finish some more sentences. Gilbert will. Hio hanachi. Okay, so it looks like there's maybe a mistake or just a drop in the Japanese here. I'm not really sure. It seems to say in Suprenius, where did it go? He took our crystal of fire, period. It might be the crystal of fire. I don't really know who has what. Mysidia has water, right? I assume if it's a desert, it'll probably be associated with fire just because of heat. But the original Japanese doesn't say that. I guess technically once they took the crystal, if it is the crystal of fire, then they used that to set fires. But what's happening is they took the crystal, upon taking the crystal, they set fires. They launched fires. He is fire. And hanachi, if it shows here, is like fire. Right. It could be like fire arrows, I don't know. So that line is weird. He took our crystal of fire. I'm going to say that's sort of wrong because I don't even know what to make of it. My father, wait.
That one. They pillaged.
Okay. So why did they bomb the castle? I have to deal with this really janky scroll thing. Okay, they pillaged the castle in order to steal the crystal, ... Yeah, I don't know. Or maybe it's not saying upon grabbing the crystal, but more like if this is a sentence that's going to drag on a little bit longer, it could be saying that this was their intent. To steal the crystal, they lit the fires and did this and that. It kind of all comes down to that they pillaged the castle, but they're about to say exactly everything that's happened. So J2E, I would like to have had more details in here. It'll make sense when we get to the next few lines. Okay, Edward says, in response to Cecil's question, why would they do that? Edward just says, our fire crystal, period. All right, I don't like that one. All right, okay, so continuing what the terrible stuff that has happened, Gilbert's explaining that the other terrible things, they set fires. Chichi mo haha mo yarare, anna mo boku o kabatte yumi ni. So they lit fires. My father and mother were done in, or more, you could just say that they were killed. My mother and father were killed too. And as for Anna, she protected me, and then he's kind of about to say, but doesn't say, that she was hit by a bow, but we would probably say arrows. So she was hit by arrows protecting me. Also, the dad and the mom were killed. It kind of parallels what happens later on with Edge's parents. Like they're just going around just doing fratricide, or what was that fratricide? The regicide? Press 5 for regicide, or something like that. I forget how that quote goes. Someone put that quote in there. All right, so those are some like big details, right? Like you're killing the royal family. And Anna was also. So I see no mention of father or mother in the Super NES. I'm going to take off a point. Should I do one for both? All right. J2E. My mother, ... father, ... dead, ... Okay, good job. All right, naming way. They killed my parents, ... So that detail is in there. I would have liked it to have been phrased better, but it's in there. Good job. Then that last part is about how Anna also protected me from the arrows. So let's see how that turned out. Super NES says, and Anna shielded me from the arrows, period. So while we're here, look, you can see in the Japanese script over here, or where am I? You can see like all these dots. There's just so many dots, right? And these aren't here on accident again. The writers put them in there. They don't just accidentally end up there. And as a translator, you have to pay attention. So we see all those dots, but look at the Super NES. Look at how many of those that you see. See one there. Yeah.
One.
Yeah. And it doesn't mean every time there's a ... in one, it doesn't mean there should be one in the other, as we talked about in stream number 2, I think. But there should be something in here, right? And so that's just how it feels. It feels like very different. It comes out very different to me when I look at that. All right, J2E. And Anna shielded me ... from ... arrows ... Okay, very good. Well, yeah, it looks like at one time they used the word garbed. Golbez was garbed completely in black, and they changed that to cloaked. That's just a change there. I never would have noticed that. All right. And then naming way says, and Anna ... shields me from the arrows ... Okay. All right. That big old text box is over now. We're good for a little bit, or we're about to hit some more, but we got a little bit. A small box here. Nice break. Okay, so now Tella says, Sonna ni made koyatsu no koto o ... So that's basically saying you loved him that much. To that amount. You love this guy. He's still not being that polite about. It's like kind of colloquial way of saying this guy. So he's not super polite yet. But he's also, that sounds like something an older guy would say. Koyatsu no koto, so you loved him that much. And then Super NES, you loved him that much, ... I would have liked maybe the word so in there, like he's coming to him. It was more clear he's coming to his realization. J2E, he means that much to you? I would have liked the word love to be brought in here. Because she had been pleading already, like he means a lot to me, and then he would say no, and then so they ran off. So for him to come to his senses now, the word love would have been stronger here. J2, or if naming way says, you love him that much, ... question mark. All right, that's all right. Like, I guess basically you would go to such a degree. You like him, you love him so much that you would go to such a degree. You would do such a thing. That's how that comes across. Oh, I missed it. I'm sorry, everyone. Oh my gosh. You want me to go through that line again? It was pretty short, right? No, but there was some weird J2E stuff in there. All right, I messed up, you guys. I'm going to do something that is very reckless. We're going to do something very reckless. Here we go. Why isn't it working? Oh, I paused it. We're just going to do all that again fast. I've never run this on fast forward. I don't know if my script can keep up. If my computer starts smoking, I'll let you know.
By the way, the rice smells normal when you get up close.
Okay. Okay. Yes, we're back. We made it back. Where is that? In about 20 seconds, we'll get it. All right. Okay. So now Anna is saying, in response to Tella, Oto-san ... watashi o yurushite, Girubato ... aishiteru. aishiteru. Like, okay, so she's saying, Father, forgive me, dot, dot, dot. I love Gilbert. But as you can see, she's kind of like getting further dotted. She's following the dotted lines of her life, and she's about to expire, as you can see. But at the very end, she has enough to do a full emphasis on that exclamation that we see there. All right. Supernius, Father, forgive me, I love Edward. And there's some good dots in there. It's all pretty good. Exclamation at the end, I like it. J2E, Father, please forgive me, dot, 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 I, dot, 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 love, dot, 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 Gilbert, exclamation. All right, it's all in there. Good job. What's going on in here anyway? Oh, just some formatting changes with J2E. Oh, I thought there would be some fun stuff in there. All right. Naming way. I do, dot, 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 but I love you too, Father, dot, dot, dot. Oh, Edward, dot, dot, dot. Oh, wow. So her final breath is to say, I love you. But you don't see that in the naming way. Like, that makes sense, right? You want that to be your final. As a writer, you kind of want to end on a strong note like that. Her final word was, I love you. So I love you too, Father is not really, is wrong. The timing, I won't do timing too much, but this is one of those key scenes, then definitely would have loved that. So naming way has dropped a couple there. Okay, we'll go with that. All right, I'm glad we went back to that one. I don't want to have to try to do what I just did too often. Oh, okay. Because this music is playing, it almost feels like they're gonna take this text away if I don't pause it now. But basically, it's just Gilbert saying Anna, and then Tella is going Anna, Anna. So basically, they're just yelling her name as she's dying, or dead now. Maybe she's dead fully. And then that became Edward says Anna, Anna. Then Tella goes Anna, Anna, and Supernius. Basically, exactly as you would expect, without just Edward instead of Gilbert. J2E does the same thing as Gilbert saying Anna and then Tella going Anna, Anna. Naming way does something interesting. Tella and Edward. Anna. So let's combine them together there. I don't know if that's good or bad. I don't really know. It's an interesting trick to save space, maybe. You combine all the Annas into one and then put the two speech names into one. I'm okay with that. Right. Gilbert is sad. All right. Now that it seems Anna is dead, Tella now speaks hesitantly. Dot, dot, dot. Sono goru beza to wa itai nanimono nanda. He gets really emphatic there. Nanimono nanda. So just who is this Golbez guy? All right. Supernius. Who is Golbez? Question mark. He's really upset now, like naturally. At Supernius, it sounds like he's having. Oh, okay, I think there's someone has smoke outside, maybe. He has like the quiet anger I can almost feel. It's just maybe it's an illusion, a hallucination. But having him do it quietly like that is kind of cool. Who is Golbez? Like, because if he's saying it quietly to himself, almost, but just enough so the others can hear, that'd be pretty cool. Rather than shouting it. This happens sometimes when you do a translation. Sometimes the translation can sometimes shine in new ways. Sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse. Alright, so that's okay, I'll stick with that. Although I really would have liked emphasis, because there's like itai and an exclamation, and this nanda is in there. Alright. Then J2E says dot dot dot. Who is this Golbez person? Exclamation question mark. So this is pretty good. The only way you could do it is be like, just who is this Golbez person or something. Put like a just in there or some other kind of intensifier. That would be nice. But it's really good. It looks like this used to say, who is this Golbez? Originally. Without the dot dot dots at the start too.
Or with.
Oh yeah, I don't know what's going on there. It's weird. Yeah, I guess it says something else, but just a minor change. They put the word person in there. That's fine. I like the... So who is Golbez again comes in the naming way. It seems to just be pulling from Tella, or not Tella, from Super NES. I mean, he is pulling from Tella from Super NES. Alright, next line. Gilbert says, Saikin baro ni yatte kite akai tsubasa o hiki, kristaru o atsumeteiru toshika, ... So all I've heard is that recently he came to Baron and has been leading the Red Wings to gather the crystals or while gathering crystals, ... So it's kind of like maybe hearsay. It's hard to say, but that's all the details that are in there. Super NES became, I heard that he's gathering crystals using Baron's Red Wings. The fact that he recently came to Baron, yatte kite, is a big deal. It's not just a random phrase to stick in there. It's a detail I would have liked in there. Because, like, who is this guy? He came from outside, basically. Also, he's saying Toshika, which suggests, like, this is all I've heard. All I've heard is this. That all I've heard feeling is missing. That nuance is missing in there. I won't mark off on that, though. Alright, J2E. He came recently to Baron. Okay, that's the yatte kite. And took control of the Red Wings. And then, it looks like J2E might break this into multiple lines, actually. So he continues by saying, I can only think that he's using them to gather the crystals, ... sniff, ... Okay, so first, I don't think there's any sniff in here. I'm going to take that out. But, I can only think that he's using them to gather the crystals. No, what he knows or what he has heard is that he is doing that. He is gathering the crystals. There is no like uncertainty about. I can only think. There's a thing in there. I already took off a point, so I'll just leave that the same. Anything else in there? What happened on this one? Okay, so in the easy type, there's a word change here. Saikin baro ni yatte kite, came to Baron recently. Akai tsubasa o hiki, which means to like lead the Red Wings, became Akai tsubasa o tsukai, is using the Red Wings. So rather than leading, is using the Red Wings. That's how the easy type. They changed that because hiki is kind of a fancier word for younger readers, I guess. Alright, this became in naming way. I've heard he came to Baron using the Red Wings to gather the crystals. Sob. Where's the sobbing and sniffing come from? Is that coming from J2E? I don't see this at all in the Japanese. I'm gonna take that off. Unless I'm wrong, but I don't see any sobbing reasoning. He probably is, but it's not in the Japanese. Okay. He's saying only the only thing I know, all I've heard. Using the Red Wings to gather the crystals. Leading would have been better, but using it as an easy type technically, so it doesn't matter. Alright. Also recently. The idea of recent. Recently is missing from Super NES. I would like to have had that. That's another world building. Like, where did he come from? Does that come up in the after years? Like, where was Golbez hanging out this whole time? Was he on the moon? How did he get down from the moon? If so. Yeah, if you don't know this game, you're probably like, what the heck is this game?
That's not a joke question.
Alright. Okay, so Tella now shouts back at Gilbert as saying, Nasake nai, and that's like just yelling and pathetic. Nasake nai. How does this thing translate? Nasake nai. Miserable, pitiable, shameful, deplorable. NASA's in here. Alright.
Wait, the sobs are coming.
Oh, sobs are also here. Sob, and Super NES.
We didn't see it before.
Yeah, okay. So there's sobbing also in the Super NES, but I swear I do not see any sobbing in Japanese. I didn't see it in the easy type either, so I think this was added in by the Super NES. Alright, Super NES, if that's the case, then it led J2E and Naming Way to also use it. So a weird translation mistake will live on. That's how like those legacy translations live on. Those are the ones that you can't kill once they get too strong. The legacy translations. All right. Nasakinai. Looks like it's gonna. Basically, he's gonna say some 2 lines. Let me read this full thing. Nasakinai. Naite mo anna wa ikikairan. Baro no gorobeza. So basically saying pathetic, even if you cry, won't bring Anna back. So I guess these sobs are trying to fill in the fact that he's crying, but I never did that in Japanese, so it was more just like for people's, I don't know, follow along better. Alright. SNES, stop crying. Your tears won't bring back Anna, period. Yeah, so basically in Japanese that would had said it's pathetic, even if you cry, it won't bring Anna back to life. And he kind of says it in an older guy way. Pitiful fool, crying won't bring back Anna, says Tella in J2E. I guess that works. Tella then says in the naming way, enough, tears won't bring Anna back. This enough. He's saying Nasakenai is like as an insult to Edward right now. But enough isn't an insult, so I'm going to take that off. Alright, so we're starting on this line here. Again, Baro no gorobeza, ... exclamation. Watashi ga anna no kataki o totte kuru. Golbez of Baron. I am going to go avenge Anna and come back. Like, I'm gonna go do that and come back kind of vibe. That's how that literally goes. Yeah. Alright. Wait for me, Golbez. I'm coming to avenge my daughter. Normally... Okay, so here's a weird thing in Japanese. We will say, if someone's like needing help and you need to go rescue them, in English we'll say, I'm coming to save you. I'm coming. But that is coming from your perspective, right? Like you're saying, I'm doing this, I'm coming to you. Mm-hmm. In Japanese, you'll say, I'm going to you. It doesn't really matter, but this is just a weird thing that happens in grammar. So we will say coming when someone might say going in one language or the other. Coming and going kind of swap back and forth. That's kind of what's happening. But I think this SNES could have been done better. But it's basically the same. J2E. Golbez of Baron. Those dots in that line just became an extra second exclamation. Doesn't matter. I will avenge Anna. Okay, that's fine. Naming way. Golbez of Baron. I'm coming to avenge my daughter. Okay, that's fine. Golbez of Baron is missing technically from the Super NES. But we're not going to mistake him for Golbez of, like, I don't know, Kaipo. Alright, so Cecil stops Tella from leaving by getting in the way. Tella was about to leave. So Cecil now says, Tella, hitori dewa, ... exclamation. Tella, by yourself, ... exclamation. If you do it by yourself, ... it's kind of the idea. If you go alone, Tella, if you go alone was the idea. So in Super NES became, you can't go alone. I guess he's saying that he's worried. He's worried. In Japanese, you can't go alone is how that turned out in the Super NES. J2E, Tella, you can't do that alone. Yeah. Then, naming way, you can't go alone. Tella's name gets dropped from them both, but it's okay. He's like, there's no... Sorry. There's no,
There's no question.
Yeah, there's no question. Yeah. I'm sorry the scene is taking so slow and we're going through it so long, but this is the one that everyone's going to want to know. Alright, so Tella hits Cecil and knocks him away. And then Tella shouts back, Tasuke nazo idan. Korobeza wa watashi hitori de yaru. He's saying, I don't need no help, but in like old man way, I don't need your help. It's kind of in the old man way, and it's a little bit non-standard speech pattern in Japanese. Golbez, I will deal with Golbez myself. I will take him out myself. I will kill Golbez myself. That's kind of the vibe of that. There's a easy type change on this line, it looks like. I don't know what it was though. Might have been just something weird. Technical. Alright. He's saying, I don't need any help. I'll do it myself. I'll kill him myself. And Super NES, I don't need any help. This is my own affair. I don't know about this is my own affair. He says, like, I'll just do it myself. I mean, that's very much my, like, probably life motto.
I'll do it myself.
Just do it myself. I don't need help. Okay. I'm gonna leave it. J2E says, I don't need your help. I'll kill Golbeza on my own. And that's good. I had some formatting changes, but nothing changed. Naming Way says, I need no help. This is my own affair. I like this phrasing, I need no help, is better than I don't need any help. Little things like that really can help flesh out a character. Okay, this is my own affair. It looks like it's the same as the Super NES, essentially. Okay, so now narration now says, Tera to wakareta. So, parted ways with Tela. That became Tela left. Tela left the party. Sage Tela left. There's one little line different every time. That's how translation is. That's how art is, I think. All art is probably like that. Okay. Tela has left. Gilbert now says, and then shiku shiku. So there's a bunch of dots, and then shiku shiku. Shiku shiku is now like the crying sound. Shiku shiku. Weeping, sobbing, crying with a dull pain, prolonged dull pain. Yeah, that's right. So he's saying Anna, and then sobbing. In Super NES, Anna, sob, sob. And then J2E became Anna. Oh, okay. This is kind of interesting. This Anna. So this is him, I think, trying to say Anna, but kind of like stumbling with his word. So he says the twice. But in the Super NES, this became Anna, and the just feels like, AH. So I think that's actually probably a mistake. I probably would have put like what they did with J2E or Naming Way. The Naming Way style with this dash here, this hyphen, this is how I would have done it. And a sob. And the Naming Way is Anna sob. J2E changed the sobbing, oh, what? Okay, yeah. So it just changed the sobbing formatting to use dashes. All right. Okay, now Cecil has returned to the group, who is still standing around Anna's body. Brady walks up to Gilbert and then says in Japanese, Yowamushi. Yowamushi is like literally weak insect, weak bug, but it's kind of like a coward or a weakling. Then that in Super NES, that became Crybaby, and J2E, that became Crybaby, and Naming Way, that became Stop It. So basically she's like insulting him in like a childish way, calling him like a weakling. Not necessarily a crybaby. A crybaby is probably would be better translated as from Nakimushi, which is crying insect, but it still works. I would have preferred like weakling or something like that, but crybaby works pretty good. I think that would probably be a natural way to do it. Whoa! In the old J2E, you went from you pathetic weakling to crybaby. So imagine, like, I think Gritty's like 6 or 7, right? Saying you pathetic weakling emphatically like that. It's just after you, not only you're like, the love of your life just died, like all of your kingdom is now destroyed, all the soldiers are dead, and the 6-year-old girl is just like getting on his case. This is actually one of those lines and Japanese fans like to point out. It's just like kind of tonally weird, has a weird tone to it. They might have changed the phrasing in later Japanese scripts for FF4. Like even just the same way that the translations change every release into English, a lot of the Japanese re-releases will also make actual changes to the script. So every time maybe Naming Way is pulling in text from DS, PSP, or whatever, it might be pulling in the incorrect text. It might be pulling from text that was, written 20 years later. All right, Yowamushi. This was one of my favorite scenes in the Google translation we did 10 years ago, Funky Fantasy 4. Alright, so Rydia now continues. It says, Oni-chan wa otoko desho, otona desho, nanoni, watashi datte. Alright. That comes out as, Oni-chan is just like what you call a guy who's maybe a little bit older than you, or just like a young man. Maybe into their 20s. I don't know about 30s. By 30s, you're probably something else, right? Like maybe Oji-san. I'm not really sure. Especially in Final Fantasy, who knows anymore? Okay, so he says, Oni-chan, mister, you're a man, you know. You're a man, mister. You're an adult. And yet, ... exclamation. And then her tone changes slightly and she says, Atashi datte, which means even I ... or I also ... Alright, so let's see how this plays out in these other translations. Rydia says in Super NES, you are a man. You are a grown-up. You are not the only one who has lost loved ones. So there's stuff in here. This whole sentence is not in the Japanese. I'm going to take that off. If you put that in there during the translation test or course or something, you get some weird marks on that. But it's trying to fill in the blanks for the reader of why she's acting like this. And remember, she just lost her whole family, and she lost her mom, she lost her whole village. So she's she's dealing with all kinds of emotions too, and that's what that means. Atashi datte, I also have. And that's where the Super NES kind of fleshed it out, but it's not a translation. Alright. J2E. You're a man, aren't you? A grown-up, so act like one. You're not the only one who has lost a loved one. Alright, so this part about losing a loved one seems to have come from the Super NES. Yeah, you know, if you're a translator, you don't see it in here, right? So I'm gonna mark off on that. Did I mark off already on SNES there? I hope I did. I'm always mixing up. Hey, Poe, I need your help. My brain's dying. I don't think she heard me. Alright. Naming way. You're a grown-up. I lost my mom and you don't see me crying. So the part about being a man isn't in here. The little girl probably expects like a grown man to hold it together more is probably what the deal is. And then I lost my mom and you don't see me crying. But look, as she starts to talk about herself in Japanese, she gets upset and doesn't even like finish her thought there. She makes it that thought in full in the Naming Way translation, and there's a little bit of sass that shouldn't be there. And you don't see me crying. It sounds like you could just see this phrase on like social media, just some jerk saying something like this. I mean, she is being a jerk. Uh-oh. Oh. Hope isn't here, but I need her help. Okay. Oh, it looks like the J2E used to be a bunch of other stuff. It'll be hard to read this, but let me see. It used to say, you're a man, aren't you? A grown-up. Oh, wait, an adult. But you still cry like that, like one. We still cry like that. I've lost people I care about too. Very weird. I don't know. Naming Way, I don't know. I forget if I lost the point, but I would actually want to take 2 points off of Naming Way on this one. Anyway. Alright, so this last sentence here is Cecil just going Rydia ... And we can see that in all versions, so no need to stick on that one. This type of writing, of trying to snap someone out of something like this, especially when it's like very different characters and one character tries to snap someone out of this. This is a very common writing, especially in like older Japanese entertainment. It has this vibe that is kind of cliche. Alright. Gilbert now says, "So sa ... Kimi no yu tori, boku wa yowamushi sa!" exclamation. And that means you're right. Or yes, it's exactly as you say. I am a weakling. I am a weak insect. And the sa is an interesting emphasizer to put here. Alright. Super NES, you may be right. I'm just a coward. I would have put the feeling I'm getting from the boku wa yowamushi-sa is closer to I am just a coward exclamation. That's the feeling I would have kept it. Oh, that's how I probably would have conveyed it. I am just a coward. It's a little lower than an energy that I would like, but it's okay. Gilbert says in J2E, he may be right, ... I am just a weakling. So there we go. That's pretty good. Naming way. I know. I'm just a coward, ... It's so weird, like, because of how English works, I'm just a coward and I am just a coward. That little teeny emphasis on the word am can change that a little bit. I would have liked am here instead of I'm, but it's okay, I'll stick with it. Yeah, I needed your help earlier for a couple things. Oh, okay. I'll close that one too. Okay. Alright. Well, what's changed in this J2E? There were some changes in the J2E, but nothing major. Alright, so Gilbert continues. Dakara zuto koshite anna no sobo ni iru nda. So that's why I'm going to always stay by her side like this now. So I'm going to just keep staying by her side like this now. And then he does it with another emphasis. And like, he's losing his logic. He doesn't care anymore. It just hurts. I'm weak, but I'm just going to stay with her. I don't care. Like, very emphatic. Like, he's upset, emphatic kind of feeling. Alright. The super yes, but I don't care, period. I'm staying here with Anna, period. His distraughtness is a little less clear, but I'll stick with that. In that case, I'll stay here with Anna forever. I don't care about anything else. Okay, I don't need that one yet. In that case, I'll stay here with Anna forever. Okay. Naming way. I'll stay here with Anna forever. So, fine. Okay. Next line is he finishes this. Edward Gilbert finishes this out with mo nanimo kamo dodemo inda. Then he basically saying, I don't care about anything else anymore. Nothing matters to me anymore. Like, he's just kind of giving up. He's broken now. He's broken after Rydia got on his case. Alright. Super Nias, I'm staying here with Anna, period. And then, oh yeah, that part was, but I don't care. I don't care. I would have liked emphasis in there. J2E, I don't care about anything else, exclamation. It's correct. I would have liked rephrasing on that somewhere. Nothing matters anymore. That's really good. Yeah. I like that. I'm going to give the naming way up on that. Mo nanimo kamo dodemo inda. Alright. Cecil now walks over and hits the bard. Like, physically hits it. Bam. Then we have another long scene that's going to play out. Alright, Cecil now says, Kanashi no wa kimi dake janai nda zo. You aren't the only one who's sad, you know. And he's pretty emphatic, heavily emphatic here. We got some changes here in the easy type, but we won't get to that just yet. Cecil says, and Super NES, you're not the only one who is sad, Edward. I mean, we just punched him and now he just ends this with a period. It's kind of funny. J2E says, damn it, you're not the only one sad here. This damn it might be a little too strong, but for the wording, but for the situation, it's all right. It's like, it'll be the first time he ever did that, but he's using the word kimi also. So it's so strange. It's like this very interesting, weird valley we're in. All right. Cecil says in naming way, you're not the only one suffering, period. That period bugs me. He's being heavily emphatic. We can see all the exclamations. You're not the only one sad. You're not the only one suffering. Okay. I could spend a year on that. Oh, I almost went too far. Yeah, this is a long line. I better not do it. Okay. そんなことしていてもアンナも喜びはしない。So even if you do something like that, Anna won't be happy. Is how that goes. Super NES, besides, Anna won't be happy if you do that. J2E. Do you think staying here and crying like a child would make Anna happy? This crying like a child part is added out of nowhere. But it was always in there since the original J2E. So the original translator put that in there. I'm going to take that out with a point. That's how this works now. Alright. Alright. Anyway, this won't bring Anna any joy. Again, this exclamation. The whole tone of this, is there any exclamation? Oh, only one exclamation happens in naming way. Again, that stuff actually does matter when you get deep into the text like this. Alright, let's go to the next line here. Wait, okay. So that line that we just did changed in easy type. そんなことをしていてもアナも喜びはしない became そんなことをしていてもアナも喜びはしない. So basically the same, but it looks like it is just formatted differently. But I don't know why it's like broken up like this. Maybe the window location changed, and that's why it's such a big deal there. Alright. Cecil continues. それに今の僕らには君の助けが必要なんだ. Plus, as we are now, we need your help. We require your help in our current state. There's like a plus or a besides feeling in there, and that's where the besides in there comes from in Super NES. Wait, that's not there. We really need your help. Alright. Yeah, this besides and J2E besides. Right now we need your help. Exclamation. Naming way. ... And we need your help, period. Boy, that is not the vibe I was looking for. He's like trying to cheer up a little bit. And okay, next line. Alright, Gilbert now responds, 僕が君たちを助ける. So, me help you is kind of the deal here. Okay, so Super NES had added a line previously, please come with us. So I'm going to take a point out on that. Alright, so that line just now, me help you, became my help, ... question mark in Super NES, that's good. J2E gets a little closer with me help you. That's good. And then naming way just became my help, question mark. I would like the emphasis on my. Like, Gilbert has no confidence in himself, and like, why would this knight guy need my help, you know? That's the idea.
I'm just a weak royal guy.
Mm-hmm. Royal ugly dude. Alright. And then Cecil now introduces himself. 僕はセシル。海溝で高熱病に倒れている仲間を助けるため、砂漠の光がどうしても必要なんだ. So I am Cecil. Well, first let's start with that. I am Cecil. Okay, good. In order to help or save a friend who has collapsed with the high desert or high fever in hypo, I absolutely need the light of the desert. That's how all that works. All this. This became in the Super NES, I am Cecil. I'm looking for the sand ruby to help my friend who is ill in Kaipo. The intensity of the problem has lessened by just saying, help my friend who is ill. That's just a little thing in there that I see. It could have been worded stronger. But squishing all that down into that is pretty nice. J2E. I'm Cecil. A friend of mine collapsed near Kaipo, stricken with desert fever. We need the light of the desert to cure her. Okay, technically not near, but actually it was. Like if you look at the lore that we were looking at, the text doesn't say that. It just says at Kaipo. And it doesn't, yeah, okay. This became, I'm Cecil, I'm looking for a sand pearl to help my ill friend in Kaipo.
I thought that said sand pear.
Sand pear?
Because that looks like exclamation from
Oh, I see that. You can see in the old J2E, they did emphasize me help you. So someone figured that out pretty well. I don't know who would have fixed that. Alright, that one's fine. I'll be okay with that. And then Cecil continues with Sore ni wa kimi no tasuke ga iru. And for that, we need your help. Is how that goes. Okay. And I need your help. It became in Supernius. It could have been phrased better, it's okay. Moreover, we need your help. That moreover is pretty weird. Was that always there? Mm-hmm. It looks like they added the moreover. Maybe they saw the Sore ni wa. Which would have been a mistranslation maybe, but I don't care here. Alright, Alright, so the part about like... So he's re-explaining that we need your help for that purpose I just stated. That line, that restatement is missing a naming way. Alright, so now Gilbert will respond by saying, Boku ga tasukeru ... Like me help? Again, he's doing this. He's still unsure. Edward says in Supernius, I ... question mark help you ... question mark. Again, he's still just amazed that someone could need his help. His help, or I mean his amazement a little weaker. Yeah. Like I would have liked this "my" to be capitalized maybe in J2E.
All caps.
Yeah. All caps, sorry. Edward says you need ... me in naming way. That's pretty okay. Then Cecil says soda, Rosa no tame ni ... tanomu. That means yes or indeed or something like that. Correct. For Rosa's sake, I request your help. I ask for your help, please. For Rosa's help, please, kind of. That's how that goes. Missing in Supernius. 2 lines are missing in Supernius here, so... Oh. Wait, no, it just says yes, you.
That's very forceful.
It feels like it's, like motivational speaker. Alright, so that's fine, but for Rosa's sake, is missing, so I'm gonna take that out. And then Cecil says, right, for Rosa's sake, ... please. Okay, and J2E gets it. Cecil says, in naming way, yes, ... for Rosa, please. That's kind of strange formatting, but it's intact. Also keep in mind that at this moment, he has just now, Edward has just now heard Rosa's name. Like before, this was not the case. This matters in not any of these translations, but I think one of the other translations, suddenly somehow Edward knows Rosa's name before he should. In one of the other translations, I don't remember which one. I might be wrong, but I'm almost certain that that's the case. Alright, so Gilbert stops to think for a moment and then looks down. He's kind of like sullen a little bit, and now he says, Rosa toyu hito wa kimi no daiji na hito rashii ne. Rashii ne. ... Aisuru hito ... ushinate wa ikenai. So this Rosa person seems to be an important person to you. ... The people we love ... we must not lose them. Period. It's kind of how that goes. We must not lose the people. We cannot lose the people that we love. Right. Edward says, she seems to be an important person, period. You shouldn't lose your loved one, period. Would have liked better formatting and things in here. Gilbert says in J2E, this Rosa person seems like someone important to you, ... You shouldn't lose the one you love. I think loved ones, using the word loved ones would be better. Just not just the one you love, because that kind of limits it to maybe just one person, like maybe your spouse or your whatever, your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. That's like one of those phrasings where like the genie could maybe get you through a loophole, but I'll just leave it. Okay, so naming way, ... This Rosa sounds dear to you, ... Like Anna was to me, ... I don't know if that is about to come in, but like Anna was to me is not in there, so I'm gonna take a point. Alright. I would have liked the Super NES to restate Rosa's name. Having Edward say that name would be a stronger for a character. Like, and also would stick with what the intent of the original author was. Right, Gilbert now looks back at Cecil and says, Sabaku no hikari wa higashi no doukutsu ni sumu Antolion ga sannan no toki ni dasu bunpitsu butsu kara dekiru. So bunpitsu butsu, that's a funny phrase to say. Bunpitsu butsu. That basically means it's like an excretion matter. Okay, so Sabaku no hikari wa alright, so the light of the desert is made from the like I don't want to say excrement, but something secretions. It's like the secretions that the antlion sometimes produces when laying eggs. But there's more to the sentence, and I have to back up a little bit. So the antlion lives in a cave to the east also. So all of that is one sentence. If you can put all that into one sentence, that's how that worked. It becomes real wordy to do that sometimes. All right. So if you like to know what this light of the desert is, or what the sand ruby is, or whatever, it doesn't seem to be the eggs, but rather the goop that comes with it laying the egg sometimes. And that's what we're gonna put some egg goop in Rosa somehow. We have to go get the egg goop. All right, Sannan. So, is it in there? Egg laying, spawning, yeah. So, I don't know much about antlion physiology, but maybe you could put that together and determine the gender of the antlion that we kill later on. Just if you want trivia. Okay. Yeah, the sand ruby is made from the antlion. Is made from the antlion when it lays its eggs in a cave. That makes it sound like it's just a chunk of the sand ruby, and you gotta like hit it with a mallet, get that stuff off of it. So right now it's saying it's a cave to the east. The important part is now it's like the next location. It's telling us to go to the east. Is this anywhere? First I want to see if this is okay. Super NES does cover that it's to the east. So I won't mark anything off. The light of the desert is created from the secretions of the antlion when it lays its eggs. That's like really good. That's like one of the best translations I've seen out of J2E so far. What was it originally? Okay, this used to be the light of the desert is created. Huh?
Created caves by the secretion?
I don't understand what this is doing. It's created. Okay, something, maybe they thought maybe it comes out of the cave itself. I don't know. That was pretty weird. So that's just the script being weird. All right, so naming way. The sand pearl is made from the secretion of the antlion when it lays its eggs. It's important that these things tell us that it's going to be to the east. If none of them tell us it's to the east. Okay. Naming way lost one. Naming way is going to lose a point. It does not say east. Again, one of the most important things when you're translating a game, make gameplay mechanics, gameplay directions. You cannot lose those details. That's probably a big deal that people have these days with AI translations or like really crappy translations of big games. I see it more and more like every time I just look online. Gameplay mechanics and like the stat boosts and the special skills when you get swords equipped, all that kind of stuff. If those things are wrong, you're going to have a bad gameplay experience. So don't mess up gameplay mechanics, don't mess up directions. Never do that. People will skip your dialogue because people are lazy and don't want to read, but never mess up that stuff. All right. What if, yeah, is it to the cave? They say that they also mention caves. This doesn't have a cave in naming way, but I'll allow it. Okay. 洞窟には浅瀬を渡らなければ we're gonna break this line here. いけない they could have formatted this line better. Watch when I do it. Like just like the last word on this line here. Alright. So to get to the cave you must cross the shallows as well. Shoal, shallow, sandbar, ford is how that works. Asase. Also, I gotta mention that this game is what taught me so many words. Like I've never really had to use this word in life, asase. But I know it because of this game originally. The more games, the more books, more music you get, the better you grow, the more words you'll grab. Just gotta play them. Gotta play them all. Gotta be Pokemon. All right. Right, to get to the cave, you must cross the shoals. How that works. Alright. The cave is in the east, but we must go across shallows to get there. So that's like previously the east was mentioned previously in Japanese, but they moved it down here and combined it there. This is a pretty good way to do that. Alright, J2E. Its cave is to the east, but we must cross a shallow stream to get there. Shallow stream. I don't know if I put stream in here. I might actually mark that off. Oh boy. The J2E changed this line a lot. I don't know if I can read through all this. Oh, okay. It looks like the word stream. The word stream was always in there in the J2E patch to begin with. I don't think it's a stream. I don't know if I would call that a stream anyway. Yeah, I'm gonna mark off because that would get marked off. Asase is something different. Alright, Alright, naming way. The nest is across the shoals. Again, it doesn't say to the east. Hopefully you know what a shoal is. I probably learned what shoals are from this game too in English. That's how games are. You learn languages real quick when you play games. I recommend that even if you don't know Japanese, just find a Japanese text game. Maybe the Japanese version of your favorite game. Just try it. Just play it in Japanese. You'll come out a little stronger of a person on the other side. And you'll see your new game. You'll see your game in a new way. Alright, so Edward continues. Damcyan ni aru hobasen nara asase mo koirareru. So with the hover boat in Damcyan, we can also cross the shallows. Right, so with the hovercraft and Damcyan, we can cross the shallows. There's the hovercraft and Damcyan we can use. There is a hovercraft in Damcyan that can cross the shallows. Yeah, okay, so yeah. That's good. You can use the hovercraft to cross them. And also return to Kaipo. So suddenly, he's suddenly talking about a hovercraft. Why is that the case? The naming way doesn't really make sense. I'll take off a point on that detail. In Japanese, he's saying that it exists in Damcyan. Like, this is, I guess, a thing that they have, that they're known for. I don't know. Alright. So it's basically, like, otherwise it's just like a hovercraft appeared out of nowhere. I don't know. How did that happen? Kaipo ni mo asase o koete yukeru hazu da. So we should be able to go across the shallows to Kaipo as well. We can also go to Kaipo through the shallows. Cross might be better. Cross. We can also cross the shoals back to Kaipo. He's saying Hazuda, so more like it should be able to. He's not certain, but it should be able to. That uncertainty, but should be able to, is missing. Yeah, so those details are missing in all these translations. but it's kind of minor. You can use the hovercraft across them and also return to Kaipo. So it combined that previous line. You can use the hovercraft across them. Alright, stick with all that. Alright, we're almost out of here, everyone. Alright, now Gilbert says, Sai, isogo. Come, let's hurry, or alright, let's hurry now, or something like that. Let us hurry. Isogo. How does this do sa? Come now? Sometimes it can be those. It's more like just you're pushing the conversation in a new direction or further forward with the sa like that. Okay, let's hurry. So they took the sa out. Let's hurry. Come on, let's hurry. We came in J2E. Oh, that line is completely missing in naming way, so I'm taking that out. Alright, so J2E has some change here, just some formatting changes. Alright. Then after I press the button, it's going to say in Japanese, Ozoku Girubato ga nakama ni natta. So the royal family, or the royal member Gilbert, joined the party basically. So let's see how that becomes. So it technically doesn't say prince yet, it's just Ozoku, which is royalty. Like O is king and Zoku is family, or tribe maybe, or clan, Ozoku. Alright, so they go through that, they just say Prince Edward, it's easier. It also says in Super NES, Prince Edward joined as a bard. This as a bard is not in the original. I'm going to mark that off because that's a weird thing. Like, he joined as a bard, but he could have joined as something else. Alright, J2E, Prince Gilbert joined the party. Naming way, Bard Edward joined. So again, this is the royalty. This is royalty, it's not a bard, so naming way is going to get that off. Alright, so here we go. If you do decide to play a game in Japanese and you're still learning the language and it takes forever, never ever worry. That'll happen. You don't even have to try to sit there and do every word. Just try to find some keywords and go through it. If you already know the game, you already know that, so you already know how to play it. That's what's so great about games. You can do so much cool stuff with them. They can power you up using your own interest as fuel, and it comes back stronger. Alright, so now Gilbert, everyone has left the room, but Gilbert walks back in one last time, looks at Anna lying on the floor and says, Sayonara, ... Anna, exclamation. So he's sad, but he's now, like, he now has strength to move forward is the idea. Just in that little simple line. Sayonara, ... Anna. Alright. This became goodbye, ... Anna. Exclamation. So that's good. J2E, farewell, ... Anna. Exclamation. It used to be something else. Don't know what formatting thing. Naming way, ... goodbye, comma, Anna, period. Yeah, his renewed energy is missing in the naming way there. And now Anna like flashes away and disappears. I guess that's what when you die. When you die in Final Fantasy, first you die in real life, but also you flash. Alright, so we're back on the overworld now, and the hovercraft has appeared, and we're in it. Now we can go anywhere we want. I want to do a little bit more, but what I want to do is, well, first I want to go back. I want to go back to Kaipo. We're not going to do the Antlion Cave today. That'll be tomorrow. We'll probably do the Antlion Cave and the Rosa stuff, like healing Rosa. We'll do all that tomorrow. But right now, I want to like. Well, first let's look at this bard. Let me put him in the back because he is a very weak person.
By his own admission.
Yes. So here's Gilbert. All right. In his left hand, he has the Yume no Tate Goto. It's like the dream harp. It's not just like a harp. It's the big kind that stands up like vertically. Tate Goto. I guess. Or maybe I'm wrong. That kanji is different. I always thought it was big, taller kind. I guess it doesn't matter. I guess because it's not a koto, it's a tate goto. Right, this became the dreamer. This is probably a harp icon, so dreamer. It was just a dream harp thing. Okay, we got the Hanetsuki Boshi. Oh, here we have Bard clothes. Shijin could actually be like a poet. It's more closer to poet. So he has like the poet clothes. The word for bard that they use is Ginyu Shijin, which is kind of like a musical poet feeling idea. And that's why we have this poet stuff, but we'd probably just still call it bard, as we see in the Super NES. They called it poet in J2E because they probably looked up Shijin and saw poet in the dictionary without looking at Ginyu Shijin. This became the bard robe in naming way. And then, oh yeah, this is when we get the ruby ring, the ruby no yubiwa, ruby ring everywhere. Okay, cool. Okay, I think that's it to do with him. I do want to go do something right now. Now that we have that, I want to try my. Oh, we can't. Oh, we can. Okay. Oh, I don't know if it worked. So if you're not sure what I'm doing here, back when I was a kid, I got this to rotate slightly when I would do the sight spell, and I thought it might have something to do with the hover ship, because the hover ship can like kind of mess with memory locations or something. You can really break the game in certain ways using the hover ship's position on the map. So maybe where we put it on the map, it might matter. I wish I knew how to make it happen. I looked a little bit at a disassembly of this part the other day. And I know that if I just change this one value in a one memory spot, I can maybe make it happen, but I don't know how yet. Alright, so, oh well. Right. I need to open up a spot. Put that over there. Just to be safe, I'm going to put that there. Okay, what I'm going to do now is an item duplication trick, because I want to have a whole lot of money for the rest of the game. Look, we barely have any money right now. And I hate having to farm for money. So, let's do it. I've done this a few times, and I'm going to see if I can do it again. While we're here, we can also see some of Edward's like abilities and things. Okay, we're fighting for Desert Sahagin. I'm gonna do the trick now. Does it work like this? I forget how this works. That's not how it works. Let me do that, okay. I have no idea what I'm doing. It might not work. Now, yeah, it looks like it's working. You can see how there's some like garbage on the right here on Cecil's equipment screen. I forget how to make this work, so we might have to try this a few times. Let me do a save state just in case, because I don't want to really mess this up. Alright. Now if I put the shadow blade in there. Okay, I don't know if I should do it yet. Let me try. I might have already messed it up, but we'll see. Okay, now we try to sell this spot if we can. Okay, we can't yet. Okay, I have to... Oh, not you. Alright. I mean, it's not what I wanted to do, but it looks like it might work pretty good.
Does it say we have 4?
No, it says that we have a whole lot more. So basically I can just sell a whole bunch of these. I did it wrong, but I can just do this. It thinks we have like 250 items or something, but we don't. There we go. We got a whole bunch of money there. I did it wrong, and I think I might have just like messed up something.
Is his sword gone?
No, it's in there.
Okay.
But I got some money now. That'll be good for now. There's a much better way to do this, where you just like you try to sell a blank spot in your inventory after you do this trick, and then you just try to sell one of them, and it gives you like your full money. There's a lot of these types of tricks. I actually like got a couple of these tricks to happen on accident back in the 90s, and then I let a friend borrow the game, and then he got them to happen too. And I even recorded some to VHS. I might have VHS video of that. But the reason I did that was because I wanted to send my findings. I found these like cool item tricks you can do in Final Fantasy IV. Never seen anywhere else. So I made the tape, made the letter, and explained it all. Sent it to Nintendo Power so that they could put it in their magazine. Then I got something back like a month or two later just saying, thanks for the tips. Don't let any spies get your tips. And then nothing ever came out of it. I don't know what the deal was. By this point, the Game Genie was probably already out, so they could have just thought, oh, it was just a Game Genie trick. But no, it was legit. This game is very, very buggy, and it's fun to play around with. I should also mention one of Square's like big names these days was the debugger, like the bug tester for this game. And now he, for many years, like a decade or more, he was like the #1 Final Fantasy head guy. That Nomura guy. I don't like him. After he took over, I just lost all interest in the series. Like, not because of him, but because of his style, his slick style, and his everyone has to be like a host boy. Everyone has to be cool and slick and hostess like. And that's not what when I look at the screen right now. I see none of that here. So I hope that this kind of feeling of Final Fantasy can return someday. I don't know if it can.
There was a time where you thought it was impossible. This feeling.
Yeah, I stopped at 12. I got a little bit into 12 and I just couldn't take it. And then everything I saw from 13 on, it just was not for me. Like even 10 was a slog for me. 9 was weird because I played it in Japan when it came out and I was only intermediate Japanese, so all of those speaking styles, it kind of traumatized me. Learned a lot from playing Final Fantasy IX that summer of 2000. Alright, save it, and then I do want to go see what's going on with Rose up here. Like while we have all this stuff going on, what's going on, you know? Maybe there's some new text. I really don't ever come back here looking for this stuff.
I'm gonna stand at the corridor to the entrance of Tucson. Welcome to Tucson!
Yeah, everyone needs someone like that. Every town needs something like that.
Right at the interstate.
Okay, so this is the guy that was talking about the bard being beautiful and having a beautiful voice. We're right here.
Here's your bard!
I'm right here. Yeah, so this was apparently just his disguise, but I guess he does become a bard by the end, right? Or maybe he always was, and that was just his disguise. Okay, yeah, we already saw that text. Okay, nothing there. Anything new? No, it's the same. Alright.
She dreaming.
I could try that item trick again sometime. I'll do it some other time in the future, but not now. Now I kind of want to walk around up north, get some levels for Edward, then get ready. And we're gonna end the stream pretty soon here, but not yet. Didn't think the stream would take this long to do just this like one or two scenes.
Since I don't want to like interrupt you as you're doing all this, but there's always questions in the chat. Should we ask them to ask their questions on YouTube comments?
That could be good too. Shoot, I had a good thought. It was, if you could bring questions ahead of time, like if you think we're gonna cover something in the next stream, let me know ahead of time, and then that could be something I bring up.
Okay.
So next time we're gonna do the Antlion Cave.
Speaking to the chat.
Yeah, chat and YouTube. This helps if you let me know it in advance. The Antlion Cave we're gonna do all that. Then we're gonna come back and save Rosa. There's not a whole lot of stuff going on there, but then there's the scene with Edward and Anna at night at Kaipo, and that's going to be an important scene. So I think we'll probably get through those. If we're lucky, we'll get to Mount Hobbs. Whether or not we go into it, I don't know. Probably not. But that's what I see. I had my eyes closed the whole time trying to envision it. All right. So actually, speaking of which, here's Mount Hobbs over here. You can come here right now if you want, but you can't do much. I probably shouldn't come over here to fight right now, though. But you can do this. If you come here, you can actually get a little bit of text early.
Edward, seriously 60?
I'm gonna run.
Yeah.
We'll look at these guys later.
Oh, all of our money.
Is it? Do we lose all of our money?
No, just 90.
Alright, so here's some ice blocking the way, and it's going Atsui kori de tozasarete iru. So it's saying it's blocked with thick ice. The fun thing is, atsui can also mean hot.
Yes.
So if you poorly mistranslated this, you could say hot ice blocks the way. But
I would have gone straight to that.
atsui is also thick. I learned atsui is thick because of the thick fry pan in Mother 2.
Because that could also be a hot fry pan.
You gotta know. Okay, so this is blocked with thick ice. The path is blocked with a wall of thick ice. It said sealed there, I guess it's the same. Blocked with thick ice. Alright. Ooh, this music is so good, but we can't. It's too soon. Alright, we gotta go over here. I wanna walk around out here a little bit, get some levels.
You know?
Oh wait, there is some more text still. Yeah, go ahead. Okay, so I'm wrong. We're gonna play a little bit longer. Is that okay, Po? Is it okay if we do it for about 30 more minutes?
Dinner's already ready.
Is it? Is it the chili?
Yeah.
Yum. Oh, did you put any more pepper in it?
Oh, I can, yeah.
Yeah, I want some more of that pepper. Alright. So there are some old people at the top, but there's also that secret dungeon over here. So let's deal with the people at the top first. As you can see, the soldiers that were dead have now been cleaned away. They might have flashed away as well. I don't know what the time to flash is after you die. Maybe it depends on how hectic your death was. Alright, so he actually can't go up any further from here. So we're back in Damcyan Castle. We're now on the top floor. Looks like it could have gone further, but I got blowed up.
Well, there's the healing pot.
Yeah, so there's healing pot over here. Got this nice little effect. Okay, we got our MP restored. And it looks like everyone uses MP the way I do it here. No, wait, no. J2E doesn't. Your MP have been restored. So this means that MP stands for magic points. I mean, it always does, but they treat it that way grammatically. No reason, I'm just pointing it out. English is weird. English choices. I will call it whatever I want. That's basically how I feel. Here's the HP one. HP and status have been restored. Okay. You can see how it's a little different naming way. It's okay.
I like how it says status normalized.
Alright. Now we have this old man. There's actually 2 survivors. Maybe 3 survivors. I don't know. 2.5 survivors. Alright, so at the top of this castle, there's this old man and this old woman. We're talking to the old man now. 生き残ったのはわしらだけじゃ。海堡にでも避難するかの。オーバー船があれば西の海岸の浅瀬を取って行けるはずじゃが。So there's a lot going on here, and just without even looking at it, we can see that the SNES and naming way seem to cut out a lot. There's actually 3 sentences in this, and I only see 1 sentence there. So, Super NES says, you can go to Kaipo along the shallows with the hovercraft and caps H. And that's it. Alright. So he was saying this, so all this says in Japanese. The ones who survived, we're the only ones who survived, basically. We're the only ones who survived. Washi da dake ja. And washi means he's old. Ja is because he's old. We're the only ones who survived. So that's missing from SNES. J2E, we're the only survivors. Good. Naming way, not in there. Take one off. Okay. Kaipo ni demo hinan suru kano. Perhaps I'll evacuate to Kaipo or somewhere else like that. He's kind of like, not sure, but he's considering it. That's missing from Super NES. Missing from Naming Way. He's not saying, so in J2 he says maybe we can retreat to Kaipo. Technically it's not can. He just says maybe I will. But that's okay. And then the second line, or the third line I mean, is if we had a hovercraft, we would be able to get to the west shore. Oh wait, we would be able to cross the west shore shoals using the hovercraft, but ... Try saying that, that's hard to say. West coast, I don't know. West shore shoals. Okay, we can use the hovercraft and go through the shallows by the west shore to get there. Okay, that's giving you the info that you need. Whoa. Okay, yeah, it looks like there were some just like kind of amateur translation mistakes in the original J2E here. Nothing major, just some basic grammar mistakes. Alright, so it's telling us so pretend that you like rented the game or you played the game, you put it down for like a month, 3 months, you come back, if these guys weren't here, you wouldn't really know what to do or where to go immediately. But because they're here, it's very helpful. These are basically like gameplay signposts, and that's what they deal with. And that's why you can see the Super NES and Naming Way only prioritized the gameplay mechanics. So like if you boot up the game and you see this guy, you're like, oh yeah, I gotta do that. Now we're going to talk to the old lady. Faburu e demo hinan suru shika nai kano. Jaga faburu e nukeru hobusu no yama wa fukitsukeru kanpu no sei de atsui kori ni owaretoru. So she also has an old speech style. And she's saying the first sentence, maybe our only choice is to evacuate to Fabul or somewhere else. Alright, so Super NES misses that line. We'll take off the plane. J2E says, perhaps we can retreat to Fabul. There's actually more than just Fabul, it's saying, or something like that, maybe. Maybe not just Fabul. This would get marked off like if you took like a JLPT test, because that this demo here. It's hard, it's a weird grammar, so it might not even show up right on there. But it gets it in there. Naming Way doesn't get it. It just left that line out. Jaga faburu e nukeru. Okay, so this is saying, however, however the Mount Hobbs, which leads to Fabul, is covered in thick ice due to the cold wind that like keeps blowing through there. Get scared. Blows. The cold winds. What's a good word? I guess cold wind. Cold wind blows, and so it made a big old hunk of ice, and so we can't get to Fabul. Is basically all that's saying. All right, so we'll keep in mind that this is due to cold wind. The road to Super NES. The road to Fabul through Mount Hobbs is being blocked by thick ice. So the cause of the ice is gone. That's a kind of a big detail. It's like almost half of a sentence there. Like they left it out to for space purposes. I keep going to the wrong. I think like as it gets later in the day, I go to the wrong window all the time. All right, J2E. But the path to Fabul through Mount Hobbs, has been blocked by a thick layer of ice brought from frozen winds. All right, it's a little punched up a teeny bit, not bad. This thick layer, the thick layer, they added that because that was missing from the translation originally. Looks like they changed some stuff in there. All right, so I like J2E here. Again, the world building's a little bit missing. The details missing from this one, so get that marked off. Then also, like I mentioned, there's all these nuances, Japanese nuances. They just get lost in translation, and it's really hard to know like how I should score those because they're just going to get lost no matter what. Maybe someone would have taken the time to add it back in, those things, and maybe that's when I'll start adding more points back. All right, now we have this secret dungeon over here, and I didn't know about the secret dungeon for maybe until I owned the game a couple months after I rented it. And the secret is you go over here. I think I might have even had like the full complete box. I got it used for my birthday, but it had like the full map and box and everything. And I think it was used back then for like $30. I don't know what a complete in box goes for today, but that's what it was, and it was nice. Okay, so this is called the Damcyan no Doya, which is like the Damcyan dungeon, maybe like cell, jail, prison, something like that. Damcyan. My dungeon might be too strong. Jail, yeah. Okay, so this is like where they would keep their prisoners. This just became basement in Super NES, and that's not the case. I'm gonna mark that off. This became the Dungeon of Damcyan. That sounds like just like a video game or a spin-off. Dungeon of Damcyan. Oh, I should mention, in Final Fantasy VI's English translation, there's this character named Cyan, right? But although in Japanese, he's technically called Cayenne. In this case, though, the Cyan is a sh or a s sound. It could be Damcyan, I guess, or it could be Damcyan in English, I mean, how you pronounce it. But it's not Cayenne. It's not Damcyan. It's just trivia. Right, this became basement in Naming Way, basement. Gets a point off on that. Alright, so there's like a semi-dead soldier in this basement. I mean dungeon. Alright, ... Megami en omae wa nakama ka. Koko no takara o yatsura no te ni wa watasande kure. ... Tanomu. And then after I press this button, he's going to disappear the way people die in Final Fantasy. Flash, 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 flash. Oh no, I missed it. Well, I missed that line, everyone. I was too busy talking about the flashing. I don't want to do that save state thing again, though. We're just going to give everyone a bonus point on that one. And this way, when people start saying that, get too crazy about my score system, you can say, oh, sometimes he would just add points randomly. Well, I guess not randomly, but I don't want people to get too crazy about these numbers. They're more for me just like which one is kind of doing a little worse than the rest, not like which one is the superior one. Because there's so much going on. Alright, there's a lot of secrets in this dungeon, and I like that. Okay. Got these fun secrets. In this box is a crossbow. And this one is the like plumed hat that we have already seen. And here we have the ruby ring. Ruby rings are kind of good sometimes. You don't really, they help you from avoid getting the pig status, I think, but you don't get that to happen too often in this game anyway. But it does give you some magic defense, I think. Alright, now we're in the basement, floor 1. This is actually a basement, so that's a good one. Alright, we'll go with these pots first. So we're in like another treasury room with a whole bunch of treasures. Here we have Tetsu no Ya, that's like an iron arrow that became iron, looks like, everywhere. Seinaru Ya is like a holy or a sacred arrow. Seinaru, that became white because anything like the words holy, like that's how crazy it was back in the day. Anything that even had like the word holy in it, Nintendo was like, no, we can't do that. Or it was more like, no, we can't accept this. And so companies, to avoid getting hit by that and getting rejected, they would just kind of like ahead of the time censor themselves this way. And like I don't even know if it was a big case or not. It's just like it was just happening. They would do it. I don't know why. Oh yeah, this is a weird case where in J2E the text for the arrow, the holy arrow, for some reason it's like it has holy space lowercase s. So it looks like it says found holy s exclamation here, but it's a weird bug in the J2E patch. I came across multiple bugs and glitches and typos like this while putting all this together. I'll point them out as I go. Alright, let's look at that one, the holy one. Alright, as we can see, the J2E adds a lot of extra info in the description, but we don't see any descriptions in the actual game. This is because J2E added things. And it tells us like what's good about it. This holy S is still there, as we can see. I guess the S got added in accidentally. It wasn't always there in the patch. The old patch just had holy. And the reason I guess the J2E people never caught it is because this S has so many spaces before it that it gets overwritten by these numbers here. Okay. Let's go we're going to get some more treasures in this room. Got some more holy arrows. Oh, is there not one in that? Did I already get that one? What happened there? I thought there would be one in there. Okay. Now we're doing some more chests. We have a potion. We have an antidote. And like eye medicine. Gold needles. Phoenix down. And ether. A lot of like potion-y things in there. Well, this is getting all messy. Yeah, you're getting too messy over here. All these new items are messing up my layout. this over here. I could probably put this equipment on a bunch of them. I might do that off stream because I don't want to have to deal with that right now. Alright, so we've cleared out this secret dungeon. If you've never been here before, come here and get that stuff. I do want, actually, I'm just going to equip. Alright, well, not too bad. He already has a bunch of stuff. So, nothing there. There, he already has everything. He's already well equipped. Can Rydia get better equipped here? Oh yeah, this Kawa no Fuku, I don't think she can, yeah, she can't get better than that, but she can get this ruby ring. I'm gonna do this ruby ring. You can see her stats there, 8 and 6, become 6 and 7. Is that worth it? Is that magic defense, or is that like magic power, I wonder? It's not a big deal. Doesn't really matter. I'm good enough at this game that that stuff doesn't matter, I guess. But I am kind of interested in this crossbow stuff. Crossbow. Okay, it's called crossbow everywhere, but in the easy type, they changed this in Japanese because crossbow is like an English word. They changed it to O Yumi. O is big and Yumi is a bow, so it's basically big bow. Maybe it shows up here. Nah. O and Yumi. But that's a very different item, though, isn't it? Like a crossbow and a bow.
Like a long bow, big bow.
Your crossbow is a gun kind of looking one, isn't it?
Shoot.
Alright. Let's get some enemies out here. Oh. Like 10 more minutes. I want to get him. What level is he at? He's at 5. Let's get him a couple more levels. We'll just do some grinds and we'll look at the enemies out here if there's anything. Oh, just a sandworm. And he's dead. Okay, we can try some of his techniques too. It's defense, but it's super misleading. Are there any stats in this game where it's like they don't matter at all, like in 3.6? Okay, let's look at some of the stuff that Edward can do. He had some of his stuff taken out, and it was brought over to 2. So he can do this thing called Kusuri. Kusuri is medicine. What it does, it takes one potion out of your inventory and spreads it across everyone in your party, so it's like the weakest thing in the world. It's like so pointless, but here it is. We're getting thundered over here by some mages. Okay. And you don't think that that's coming out of your, inventory, but it is.
What a mean trick, if you don't know.
Yeah. Like, I don't think it's helpful ever. I bet maybe like in a super crazy situation, it might just barely survive. Hope you survive. Oh no! I just did the worst thing. You guys are kind of dumb though. Alright. Let's just kill them the old-fashioned way. Let's do a chocobo on this guy. It's big enough to be eaten by a chocobo, right? Like, I mean, look at this. How big that guy is. Ram, 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 ram. Chalk kick. Yeah, chocobo kick is what it says in Japanese, but then it just says like chocobo and other things in translations. Continue. Oh, one-step death, one-step battles. Those are the best, right? And when you're farming, they're good, like trying to get items. Okay, so he can do a sing also. He has a sing attack, Utao. I don't know if it ever works very well. Lullaby is what that said. And it said it everywhere else too. I don't know about these enemies. These aren't very like good experience giving ones. Let's go. I want to go see those toads. Like, it'll take forever to go get those toads. So. Like, we've already missed those toad enemies in the water cave, I think. And they can change you into toads, maybe. I can't walk across that. What am I thinking? I need to...
Oh my god.
I'll just wipe out these 8 goblins in one shot. Man, it's like Hyrule Warriors stuff there. I wonder if they could do that. I wonder if they could do a Final Fantasy IV Hyrule Warriors. I guess Dissidia is kind of like that. So Gilbert leveled up. He doesn't gain any spells or anything though. And he's only in the party for this short time. Let's just go over here and have some fun out here. I do this sometimes. I'll just like grind right out here sometimes. I don't really play it that much these days though. Oh no, my RNG went good. We're gonna do a test someday of who has the best RNG luck. We must find the best one in the world. Who's the best luck? Well, I was hoping there'd be better enemies over here. Or at least something interesting to look at. Okay, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go over there. I'm gonna go over to near Mount Hobbs and not do this. Maybe it'll be better. Let's go over here. Maybe there's better stuff over here. Hear my squeaky controller.
Is that one I've cleaned before?
I don't know, it's starting to get real squeaky today. I'm pretty sure you cleaned it. Oh, that's a sandworm. I like this background though. Alright, let's get him like another level or two. I could just go straight in there, try to do a fight, but it would be pretty bad. Alright. I feel like I'm wasting everyone's time by doing this grinding a little bit here. It's kind of my ritual. No, I don't really want to do off-stream things like that anymore. I want everyone to kind of experience this together. We got 2 items from those guys though. Oh, you know what? Those strings of 8 goblins, those might be good for farming, huh? Farming the goblin summon. You can actually summon those goblins if you can get the item from them. And then also Edward can do this move Kakureru. That means to hide. And because he's weak, he'll just like leave the screen. I hear that can lead to all kinds of crazy bugs and exploits. I haven't played with any of those though. It's good if you don't want him to die, but he's in your party for so little.
You don't want to waste your Phoenix Downs on him.
Oh yeah, also if he gets low HP, he'll just like run away automatically. Really? He'll just go hide. I mean, yeah, all those special summon items you can get, they don't seem that helpful. But they're cool to get. It's like, there's weird stuff in this game? Where's all this weird stuff? There's so much weird stuff, I gotta find it all. No, I don't like these guys. Okay. We won't play around with them now. Use this rod. This might work. Nope. Oh crap. Oh no. Alright, Edward, I need you to fight this guy. Can you do it? Fight this mini mage. Aww. They're just a bunch of inept monsters fighting each other. No level up here. One more level for you. Where are you? 246? That's like 1 or 2 more fights. We're 13 hours in, by the way. 13 hours into the game. I could speedrun the game and be done by now. I'm happy that I'm doing the slow run. Oh my god, I have to fight 10 of those guys at this rate though. Maybe I can sneak out a fight in here. I'll try to just do a simple fight in here. It might be rough, but we'll see. Should. Right? There's no reason they would have battles not working here. Wow. Alright. Is this a known thing? There's no fights here yet? Yeah, so I thought we had that bomb encounter. I was confused. Uh-oh, so we're fighting some spirits. They snuck up on us. They sneaked up on us. Kind of hurting. Maybe I can use that medicine now. Okay, I think he can still attack those. Okay. Let's get him healed. And then let's do a chocobo on this guy. I don't know what to expect experience-wise from this. Oh, okay, they're just dead. Ooh, good, 244. Yeah, so it was like worth 10 of those guys we were fighting. Or no, I mean, yeah, 185. Okay, Cecil leveled up, let's go. Ah, it's like probably like at 4 or something. First and Gilbert, 34. Yeah, let's get out of here. I don't want to have to fight those guys again. Alright, one more fight. These guys again. Yeah, we're gonna end after this fight. Okay, so he fell asleep. And all was well with that fell asleep message. They all said it. Chocobo kick. Even though it looks like it's like pecking you. Yay. Okay, Rydia leveled up. She learned Dejon. Dejon in Japanese. Well, when I get out of here, we'll look at it. Gilbert leveled up. And we got a gold needle. Go here. Go here. I want to go buy some potions. What we can do is, yeah, what we'll do is we'll do the buying potions as we start tomorrow. But I do want to look at the Dejon thing real quick. The spell that we just got. So when Lydia leveled up, she got a spell called Dejon. D-E-J-O-N, I guess you could say. That became the Warp spell in Super NES. Dejon in J2E, and Warp in Naming Way. And the deal with the Dejon spell is it takes you out of a dungeon. Like, I think it just takes you one floor up. Like, you can kind of like backtrack your way out, but you have to do it floor by floor with the spell. And that's what this is. And it's not Warp. It's not called Warp in Japanese. It's Dejon. And I think this comes from De, is like either like the D-E dash to like something, to undo something. And then the word dungeon. And that's where the Jon maybe comes from. Or it could mean De, it could mean like dare to like leave. I'm not really sure. I've always wondered. It could also just be like a mustard name, whatever you prefer. But anyway, J2E goes to J2 with Dejon. What do we got? It just didn't have an icon before. Alright, so that's how that works. A spell that you know is Warp, like when later, when Rosa does her spell, I think that might be Exit that she does, not this one, so never mind. Alright, let's save it. 1304 is where we are. We started with 1101, so it's like 203. Not too bad. I'm gonna do a save state as well. And there we go. So I guess that's it. The current leaderboard has down from 100 points. Super NES is at -47. J2E is at 15. Naming Way is at -40. So Naming Way and Super NES seem to be catching up. J2E is still stayed above the water. Yeah, I don't know what to say much more about that. I guess we'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be kind of fun. It'll be a lot less drag out than today. We'll do some dungeons and stuff. It'll be fun. So come check us out tomorrow. And until then, please learn. Do you remember what the word for waterfall was after all this time? If you do, then you get $100, but not from me. You have to find someone with it. All right, so thanks for coming by, everyone. See you around.